Hey, this is Lisa Stofan. Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking with hypnosis. Hypnosis eliminated my desire for soda and fast food, made me want to exercise, and I lost 60 pounds in 6 months. My energy level exploded. I went to another session to deal with some other problem foods, and I lost another 10 pounds. In fact, I brought my husband, and he lost weight, and his cholesterol and blood pressure improved. My friend lost 20 pounds her first 2 months.
What are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed for only $49.99. Hypnosis is designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late-day eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. That's right, seminars, Wednesday, February 1st at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites, St. Louis Airport in St. Louis, and Thursday, February 2nd at the 4 Points by Sheraton St. Louis, Fairview Heights in Fairview Heights. Weight loss seminar, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar, 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminar.com.
You don't need special gadgets to be a hero. With unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase everywhere, the Capital One Quick Silver Card makes you the hero of every purchase. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Mark Reardon sees clearly thanks to Doctors Birdie and Maholtred Ophthalmology Associates. You can too. Go to youridoc.com today. That's youridoc.com or call 314-966-5000. Ophthalmology Associates.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rip my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Aides to President Biden have been conducting an exhaustive search, we are told, of other locations to make sure they've gathered up all the classified documents that went to the wrong place, because if it happened once, it could happen again. And what we're told is that they have found at least one additional batch of classified documents. Now, that's basically all we know. We don't know the extent, the nature of the classification on these documents. We don't know exactly when they were found. And again, we don't know whether this was anything more than inadvertent error by whoever was packing the documents as they left the Biden White House. But it's significant because it shows that the scope of this may be more broad than we first realized. You know, we were initially talking about a set of less than a dozen documents in one location at the Penn Biden Center. Now it appears there are more classified documents that went astray after Joe Biden left the Obama administration.
That's an MSNBC reporter talking about this issue. And if you haven't, this broke yesterday, right when we went to hand it over to Mark Reardon at about 2:45 our time here Central. And there's been a second trove of documents, classified documents found with President Biden in his garage, no less. They found him where? Oh, well, next to the Corvette. It's where I keep all my special things. Let's go to CNN and see what they were reporting. White House confirms Biden aides located Obama-era classified documents at 2 locations in his Wilmington home. President Biden aides located these documents, according to the White House counsel's office. In a statement made today, the documents were located in a storage area in Biden's garage and an adjacent room. The statement reads, Biden frequently spends weekends at the home, located in a wealthy, wooded enclave on a lake. Speaking Thursday, Biden said the documents were in a locked garage and that he was cooperating fully with the Department of Justice. There's no way that you can't look at this story outside of the context of an FBI raid on the home of Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago. What are the similarities? What are the differences? Is it the same? Is it different? These documents are from the President Obama era, which means that Joe Biden was the vice president, as I understand from many people reporting. The vice president does not have the authority to declassify documents. Is there a good explanation for this? Was there a good explanation for what Donald Trump had? Are they the same? Are they different? Is one worse than the other? Does the National Archives have no idea what they're doing? Maybe D, all of the above. So Peter Doocy asked President Biden about these
classified material next to your Corvette. What were you thinking?
Let me, I'm going to get a chance to speak on all this, God willing, soon. But as I said earlier this week, people, and by the way, my Corvette's in a locked garage. Okay, so it's not like you're sitting out in the street.
So
but at any rate,
was in a locked garage.
Yes, as well as my Corvette.
Why is the Corvette so important here? Why are we trying to distract from the actual story? Nobody gives a crap about your Corvette, President Biden. I hate to break it to you. I would add, weren't all of the documents found in Mar-a-Lago? Maybe I'm wrong on this. Hans von Spakovsky is going to be on in 15 minutes, we think. And I say we think because Merrick Garland is supposed to be having a press conference in about 5 minutes. And we don't know how long that's going to go, but we're going to cover it here on the Annie Frey Show. Of course we are. And then we're going to get Hans's immediate reaction to that press conference and to the story. Trump's documents were in a skiff in his home. It was protected by it was in a locked garage with his Corvette. Well, the documents in Trump's home were in a skiff with the Secret Service. Donald Trump should have said, I didn't have the documents sitting on the street. It's not like they were on the street. It's a little bit bizarre. And there's a lot of, he did it, so what about if somebody else did it, and comparing the two. It's possible that both individuals should not have had these documents. Both individuals should have complied more with the National Archives, because it seemed as though the president, Donald Trump, was working with the National Archives to get things back. He had some disagreements, which was repeatedly reported, samesies with the Clintons and with many other presidents who leave the White House, leave the presidency, and there is a discussion over mementos and documents that may have a personal significance to the person who served in the office. That is a bipartisan situation. So you have negotiations go back and forth and you figure out what's what. So Joe Biden has these as well. Does that make both of them really terrible in your eyes? Or does that make it go, oh, well, maybe the Trump thing wasn't so bad? We've had reports since then that suggest that Donald Trump didn't have anything that was, posing a major threat to the United States of America. The question was, where do those documents belong? I think that's still the question. So I guess we have to comb through. I guess we'll get the photographs of the documents that are found at the Penn Biden Center on Capitol Hill. I guess we'll get the documents, the photos of of what was found in the garage right there, where the garage next to the Corvette. Make sure you get the Corvette in there. It's a nice looking Corvette. It's very difficult to consume news on face value and to assess in this climate. What did Joe Biden do here? Is it right or wrong? What did Donald Trump do? Is it right or wrong? Were they too hard on Donald Trump? Will they be too easy on President Joe Biden? Well, we're just going to have to wait and see. And the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, is supposed to speak on this issue in minutes, and we're going to cover it live. What does Peter Strzok have to say about this?
Almost on a daily basis, somewhere in the U.S. government, classified information is mishandled. And where that becomes important is the reasons why it was mishandled. Is this something where somebody is simply negligent? They didn't know that something was taken. They accidentally left something behind. They got it shuffled up in a mix of classified and unclassified papers. Those sort of things typically are handled in an administrative way. And again, they're unfortunately very, very common. Now, that's entirely different from a scenario where you have somebody, obviously, if they're trying to give that to a foreign power, but also if they know that they have this classified information. They know they shouldn't have it. They're taking methods or taking steps to hide that from the authorities, trying to obscure the fact that they have it. And that sort of intent and behavior behind this mishandling of classified information is really what's important to understand.
Intent to break the law, does that matter? Lawyers will argue that in court every day. Comparing the two cases, it doesn't seem to me that it should matter what Donald Trump does or did. He should be treated in accordance to the law, not in accordance to the political landscape around him. He will be tried in the court of public opinion, again, certainly if he continues his run for presidency, as to whether or not people look and see the obvious double standard that exists in politics, the way we communicate in the media, the way we report on these stories. This is from CNN. Classified documents found. It's got Joe Biden there. It's got Donald Trump there. Donald Trump, more than 325 documents found. Joe Biden, more than 10. Although I believe it was like yesterday that they said, we're going to search some of these other places. And then they found some in a box that was locked inside next to the Corvette in his garage. Joe Biden's were found at a private office in D.C. and home in Delaware. Donald Trump's were found at Mar-a-Lago, his residence and his office. Joe Biden's, some of them were top secret documents. Donald Trump's 60 were top secret. Again, this is all according to CNN. This is from CNN. This is what I'm talking about, folks. Joe Biden says he is cooperating fully. Donald Trump under investigation for obstruction. This is ridiculous. Classified documents found. Lawyers found and alerted the archives for Joe Biden. Donald Trump. Archives first reached out to Trump lawyers. It seems as though that the National Archives, that there should be a question surrounding that. It also seems as though we need to look at this through the lens of the law, the expectation, and then, of course, the process by which we handle these things through the National Archives, the exiting of the president and while a new one is coming in. And then in a whole separate bucket is the political ramifications. What you're seeing right now is the media softening the political hit that is coming to Joe Biden, but that should not influence what happens in a legal capacity. The Attorney General of the United States, Merrick Garland, is coming to the podium right now to make a statement after these documents, second documents, have been found in President Biden's garage at his home. Let's listen into what
Let's go to Merrick Garland.
Garland says.
Robert Hur as a special counsel pursuant to Department of Justice regulations governing such matters. In keeping with those regulations, I have today notified the designated members of each House of Congress of the appointment. I'm joined today by John Lausch, the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Illinois, who conducted the initial investigation into the matter that I will describe today. On the evening of November 4th, 2022, the National Archives Office of Inspector General contacted a prosecutor at the Department of Justice. It informed him that the White House had notified the archives that documents bearing classification markings were identified at the office of the Penn Biden Center for Diplomacy and Global Engagement, located in Washington, D.C. That office was not authorized for storage of classified documents. The prosecutor was also advised that those documents had been secured in an archives facility. On November 9th, the FBI commenced an assessment consistent with standard protocols to understand whether classified information had been mishandled in violation of federal law. On November 14th, pursuant to Section 600.2B of the Special Counsel Regulations, I assigned U.S. Attorney Lausch to conduct an initial investigation to inform my decision whether to appoint a special counsel. Mr. Lausch has served as the U.S. Attorney in Chicago since 2017. Before that, he spent more than a decade as an assistant U.S. Attorney in that same office. I selected him to conduct the initial investigation because I was confident his experience would ensure that it would be done professionally and expeditiously. On December 20th, President Biden's personal counsel informed Mr. Lausch that additional documents bearing classification markings were identified in the garage of the president's private residence in Wilmington, Delaware. President Biden's counsel informed Mr. Lausch that those documents were among other records from the period of the president's service as vice president. The FBI went to the location and secured those documents. On January 5th, 2023, Mr. Lausch briefed me on the results of his initial investigation and advised me that further investigation by a special counsel was warranted. Based on Mr. Lausch's initial investigation, I concluded that under the special counsel regulations, it was in the public interest to appoint a special counsel. In the days since, while Mr. Lausch continued the investigation, the department identified Mr. Herr for appointment as special counsel. This morning, President Biden's personal counsel called Mr. Lausch and stated that an additional document bearing classification markings was identified at the president's personal residence in Wilmington, Delaware. When I first contacted Mr. Lausch about this matter, he said he could lead the initial investigation, but would be unable to accept any longer-term assignment because he would be leaving the department in early 2023 for the private sector. U.S. Attorney Lausch and his team of prosecutors and agents have conducted this initial investigation with professionalism and speed. I am grateful to them. Earlier today, I signed an order appointing Robert Herr as special counsel for the matter I've just described. The document authorizes him to investigate whether any person or entity violated the law in connection with this matter. The special counsel will not be subject to the day-to-day supervision of any official of the department, but he must comply with the regulations, procedures, and policies of the department. Mr. Herr has a long and distinguished career as a prosecutor. In 2003, he joined the department's criminal division, where he worked on counterterrorism, corporate fraud, and appellate matters. From 2007 until 2014, Mr. Herr served as an assistant U.S. attorney for the District of Maryland, where he prosecuted matters ranging from violent crime to financial fraud. In 2017, Mr. Herr rejoined the department as the Principal Associate Deputy Attorney General. In 2018, he was nominated and confirmed to serve as a U.S. Attorney for the District of Maryland. As U.S. Attorney, he supervised some of the department's more important national security, public corruption, and other high-profile matters. I will ensure that Mr. Herr receives all the resources he needs to conduct his work. As I have said before, I strongly believe that the normal processes of this department can handle all investigations with integrity. But under the regulations, the extraordinary circumstances here require the appointment of a special counsel for this matter. This appointment underscores for the public the department's commitment to both independence and accountability in particularly sensitive matters, and to making decisions indisputably guided only by the facts and the law. I am confident that Mr. Herr will carry out his responsibility in an even-handed and urgent manner and in accordance with the highest traditions of this department. Thank you all.
The Attorney General of the United States, Merrick Garland, speaking on the new documents that have been found at the home in the garage next to the Corvette of President Joe Biden. We're going to take a quick break, and we are going to get all of the legal reaction to this. We're going to get the comparisons to the Trump situation. Are they same? Are they different? Do we care about this? Is it a big deal? Hans von Spakovsky, of course, joins us when we come back. Don't go away.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But inflation and recession has you wondering if all your hard-earned equity will still be there. What if you could recession-proof your equity right now? You can with TrueHold. TrueHold will buy your home for its best current value before a recession can erode it. You get to bank all the cash now and live in your home for as long as you want. And TrueHold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. And since TrueHold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't wait for inflation, recession, and interest rates to erode your home's value. Visit TrueHold.com and discover how much TrueHold will buy your home for today, based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without having to move. That's TrueHold.com.
So I want to talk to you about saving money on your grocery bill. This is a smart move for everybody. I don't care who you are. Ruler Foods can help you lower that grocery bill. Those costs have gone up, and you can get them back down by getting Kroger brands at Ruler Foods prices. When you shop at Ruler Foods, that's how they are set up to make sure that you don't have to spend a lot of time cutting coupons and all that stuff to save. If you're going to buy groceries frequently, which we all do, you want to make sure that you get the best prices on great brands. Ruler Foods can do that for you. Save on your favorite groceries at Ruler Foods. Let's talk about different locations across the area. There's one in St. Charles. We've been there several times for the food drive, for the diaper drive. Maryland Heights, there's one, I think it's in Alton or Godfrey area. There's one in Collinsville, O'Fallon, Belleville, Highland. They're all over the area. There's one near you. If you go to the website, you will quickly see the one that's closest to you, rulerfoods.com. You can save on produce. You can save on potatoes. 5 pounds Idaho potatoes or 3 pounds of yellow onions, $1.97 each. Kroger 80% lean ground beef sold in 3-pound rolls, $2.99 a pound. Save at Ruler Foods. Find the one nearest you at rulerfoods.com.
I stopped smoking with Mark Patrick's hypnosis when nothing else worked. 1 year later, my wife Michelle and I attended the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis seminar. In 2 months, lost 43 pounds, and she lost 18 pounds. And we feel great.
Seminars, Wednesday, February 1st at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites, St. Louis Airport in St. Louis. And Thursday, February 2nd at the 4 Points by Sheraton, St. Louis, Fairview Heights, and Fairview Heights. Weight loss seminar, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar, 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminar.com.
You found 97.1 FM Talk, where we ask questions, even when the legacy media won't. Especially when the legacy media won't.
St. Louis is home for conservative talk.
97.1 FM Talk.
I had a dream, we were sipping whiskey neat, highest floor of the Bowery, and I was high enough. Somewhere along the lines, we stopped seeing eye to eye. You were staying out all night, and I had enough.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
I wanna know where you been and where you going, but I know I won't be home, and you'll be on your own. Who's gonna walk you through the dark side of the morning? Who's gonna rock you when the sun won't let you sleep? Who's waking up to drive you home when you're driving alone?
Aides to President Biden have been conducting an exhaustive search, we are told, of other locations to make sure they've gathered up all the classified documents that went to the wrong place, because if it happened once, it could happen again. And what we're told is that they have found at least one additional batch of classified documents. Now, that's basically all we know. We don't know the extent, the nature of the classification on these documents. We don't know exactly when they were found. And again, we don't know whether this was anything more than inadvertent error by whoever was packing the documents as they left the Biden White House. But it's significant because it shows that the scope of this may be more broad than we first realized.
So the scope of this may be more broad than we first realized. We just heard the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, speaking, and he is appointing a special counsel to take over the Biden classified documents investigation. It says an additional document has been found. What does this all mean? Now, normally we would speak with Hans von Spakovsky at this time, but he had a family emergency, and we have another wonderful guest from Heritage to fill those shoes. We welcome Zach Smith from the Heritage Foundation, a legal fellow there as well. Thank you, Zach, for the time today. It's great to have you here.
Of course. Thanks so much for having me on, Annie. I really appreciate it.
So talk to me about what Merrick Garland just said and what we know so far about the Biden case specifically.
Well, look, there's still a lot we don't know, but I think it's interesting because it really highlights the hypocrisy in the way not only the Justice Department so far has treated the difference between the Trump case and the Biden case, but also really the hypocrisy in the way the mainstream media has treated these two cases. You know, to the extent the Biden documents have even been reported on by the mainstream media, it's really to minimize how serious this is. It's really to try to say, well, what Trump did is bad, but what Biden did is okay. But from a legal perspective, at least based on what we know right now, it's unclear that there's much difference between these two cases. And so I think what we saw just a few minutes ago with Merrick Garland appointing the special counsel to look into Biden's retention of these documents that were marked classified really was the only choice he had, because I don't see how you could investigate Trump's retention of classified documents, but not investigate Biden's retention of similar types of documents.
Zach Smith joins us with the Heritage Foundation. So let's set aside the Biden situation right now, and let's revisit what took place at Mar-a-Lago, Trump's office, his residence. The FBI raided the place. They found classified documents that, from what I understand, the president had been going back and forth and negotiating with the National Archives prior to the point of the raid. What took place? What was the fruit of all of the labor, of all that investigation into the Trump situation with those classified documents at Mar-a-Lago?
Well, we know that the FBI really executed an unprecedented raid on a former president's office and home to retrieve these documents. We certainly didn't see the same type of raid on the Biden home to retrieve these documents, even though, based on what we know from just a few minutes ago, is that some of these documents were found in Joe Biden's garage next to his Corvette that he talks about so much. But look, there certainly is an investigation ongoing into Donald Trump and those surrounding him. Whether criminal charges will be brought, I don't know. But I would think that the prospect of criminal charges for Donald Trump, that seems much more difficult now, unless you're also willing to charge Joe Biden once he leaves office too. But again, I want to be clear, we're still very early. We don't know a lot about these documents, what they are, what types of markings they specifically contained. But this is certainly not a good look for Joe Biden and his administration, particularly after so many on the left criticized Donald Trump so harshly for essentially the same thing.
But the accusations that were made about Donald Trump was that these documents, when we didn't know what was in them, and I we still don't know what was in all of the documents, but he's been kind of cleared of having like super Dr. Evil level nefarious points to have these in his home. They suggested that he had the nuclear codes, or that he was trying to use it to sell secrets to foreign enemies. And, they went through a whole bunch of accusations as to what Donald Trump would have had at Mar-a-Lago and why he might have had them. And it turns out that in the way I read it, at least, Zach, is that most of what he had there was more ego-based, things that were mementos to him. And the idea that the National Archives, or that the people were coming in to take this stuff from him, that he was just trying to negotiate this process, much like other presidents had previously. Is that a correct assessment of the situation, at least at this point in time?
Well, I take it even a step further, Annie. And I think what's interesting is, a lot of what was talked about when this news about Donald Trump retaining the documents first broke was a factual issue, whether or not he had actually declassified many of these documents while he was the sitting president. No one disagrees that the sitting United States president has the constitutional authority to declassify certain documents. And so it's just a question of whether or not Donald Trump had, in fact, declassified many of those documents that he took with him to Mar-a-Lago. What's clear is that these documents that were found in Joe Biden's garage and at the University of Pennsylvania Center and potentially elsewhere were from Joe Biden's time as a vice president. The vice president does not have the unilateral constitutional authority to declassify those documents. So in some ways, the fact that these documents were found in Joe Biden's papers in unsecured locations is even more troubling than those that were found at Mar-a-Lago.
Zach Smith with the Heritage Foundation giving us his legal expertise on the appointing of a special counsel to investigate the classified documents that have been found in private locations of President Biden, then Vice President Biden, I should say, when those documents were to be in his possession. So if we look at what, President Trump made the case that he declassified everything, so it wasn't classified, therefore he was in the clear. You're saying the vice president couldn't have declassified these documents, so they would have remained They would have remained classified regardless, in the context of other administrations that come and go over the course of time. Is this the big, bad, scary story? They tried to do that to Donald Trump. Republicans are certainly going to be pivoting and looking over to Joe Biden right now. That's all political noise. Let's talk about the context. Like if they would have handled the Trump situation the right way and now handled the Biden situation the right way, Is this scary that Joe Biden has these documents? Does it lead us to raise our eyebrows in ways that make us think that there's potentially a lot of bad stuff on the other end of the reason to have these? Or is it very possible as well that some papers got shuffled into a box when they were moving out and they found their way next to the Corvette in the garage?
I don't know, Annie, because we don't know what these documents contain yet. But I'll tell you what is scary and should really bother all of us as Americans is, again, the double standard that so far has been applied between this situation with Joe Biden and the situation with Donald Trump. Now, yes, Merrick Garland has appointed a special counsel to investigate both of these document retention issues. But keep in mind, armed FBI agents, to our knowledge, didn't show up at Joe Biden's home and raid his office, raid his home. But that's what they did to Donald Trump. And I suspect the only reason, and this is just my own guess, that a special counsel was appointed in this case was because if Merrick Garland failed to do so, the double standard would have been so egregious, so glaring, that the outcry would have been even louder, especially from Republicans in Congress who have pledged to exercise, broad oversight authority, appropriately so, over the Biden administration.
We're speaking with Zach Smith with the Heritage Foundation. The appointing of a special counsel. Talk to us about that action. And, you're saying that it might be reactionary to the fact that they've proceeded in the way that they did with Donald Trump. But if Merrick Garland is to say there's a special counsel, happens to be from Illinois, what does that mean for what happens next?
Well, the special counsel is kind of a unique creature. We used to have something called the independent counsel. You may remember that when Ken Starr was the independent counsel investigating Bill Clinton and a lot of his, questionable deeds, to put it mildly, before office and while he was in office as the president. There are a lot of constitutional problems with the structure of the independent counsel's office. So now we have something called the special counsel. A special counsel is technically a employee of the Justice Department. The special counsel reports to the Attorney General, but generally the special counsel has very broad leeway, is usually seen as being quasi-independent, so that they can investigate these politically sensitive situations. We've seen several special counsels appointed over the past few years. We saw Robert Mueller, who was supposed to investigate, the Russia collusion hoax between Donald Trump's campaign and the Russians. We've seen John Durham, who was appointed to investigate really the origins of, kind of the Russia collusion hoax investigation. His work is still ongoing. And there have been other special counsels appointed recently as well. But it'll be very interesting to see not only what this special counsel does in terms of these documents that were retained by Joe Biden, but also what the special counsel, Jack Smith, who was appointed to investigate Donald Trump's retention of documents, does as well.
We have a question from some people who are listening to our conversation here, streaming on our Anti-Frey YouTube channel. Ask what happens if Biden is found guilty of a crime. Then what?
Well, I think there's a very open question about whether or not Joe Biden could currently be indicted. I think the consensus is that a sitting United States president cannot be criminally indicted. So if any criminal charges were going to be brought, it would most likely be pursued after his time in office. This was an issue that came up during the Trump administration when people were threatening to, potentially criminally indict Donald Trump for a host of things. I think the consensus is that a sitting U.S. president can't be indicted. And so if criminal charges were to be brought, and again, we don't know whether that's appropriate because we don't know what exactly happened surrounding these documents, what are in these documents. But if that were to be the case, it would likely come after his time as president ends.
Well, we are going to continue to follow this story as it continues to develop. And as you said, there's a lot that we don't know right now. And as those details continue to come out, Zach, there's a possibility there are more documents in other places, I assume?
That is a possibility, and I suspect, we'll continue to hear more and more about this. We heard about the first batch late yesterday. We heard about the second batch today, and so it'll be very interesting to see what comes out of this investigation.
Well, thank you for your time today. We appreciate you, Zach Smith. We'll have you back again soon.
Thanks, Annie. Take care.
You as well. Zach Smith with the Heritage Foundation, stepping in and filling in for Hans von Spakovsky. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to join Ryan Wiggins in studio for Wiggins America. He's going to talk about another ban in a school. What is it about? Well, you'll get those details from Ryan Wiggins himself here in the studio. If you want to join us on the live chat, we'd love to have you there. Come to the Annie Frey YouTube channel, and in the poll area where we have the live chat, there's a poll. We put it up every day. Does the Democrat Party want a Biden second term? Yes or no? You let us know what you think in Wiggins America on the Annie Frey Show in a minute.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe. Conservatives Care is a new 97.1 monthly action plan to change your neighborhoods and our nation, one project at a time. In January, we're inviting you to join us in the Missouri USO in serving our troops by visiting missouri.uso.org.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing, together millions of things for our planet. Make the switch to green soaps and personal products and green cleaning products for the sink and shower. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
Stewart's American Mortgage. I was just reading an article the other day about how people are really seeking out refinances on their mortgages right now. Why would you say that is? Well, it's because people who got their mortgages in the last few months, their rates were through the roof. You want to secure that lower rate. That makes a ton of sense. And it seems kind of silly to refinance right away, maybe initially, but hear me out. When you go to Stewart's American Mortgage and you use the bagel loan, you're not going to pay anything to go through that process. And if you can take a rate down from something that was in like the high sevens, maybe even higher, and down to the rates that have come down a bit since their peak high here, why would you pass up the opportunity to save all of that money? And why would you go anywhere else other than Stewart's American Mortgage? They're all going to charge you closing costs. The bagel loan doesn't. Reach out to Stewie at 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. Talk to Stewie about the bagel loan. Don't pay all of those closing costs to go through the refinance on your home. You can Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
Tune into the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Del, self-made millionaire and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, will show you how to live the life of your dreams and pay for it with passive income.
Listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show this Saturday afternoon from 1 to 2 p.m. on 97.1 FM Talk.
Hi, I'm Tom Connors. Went to Mark Patrick's hypnosis seminar February 6, 2019. Nothing worked before. Left there and never smoked again. Amazing. Easy, affordable, and guaranteed. A year later, with my wife, Michelle, attended Mark Patrick's weight loss seminar. She lost 18 pounds, and I lost 43 in 8 weeks.
It's true. He smoked 2 packs a day, and nothing worked until Mark Patrick Hypnosis. Now we're losing weight together, eating healthy, full on half the food, crazy, enjoying exercising. Who would have believed Mark Patrick Hypnosis really works?
It's amazing. I can breathe again. My blood pressure went down, and I've got so much energy.
So much energy.
And look great.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed for only $49.99. Hypnosis is designed to destroy unwanted cravings. That's right, seminars, Wednesday, February 1st at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites, St. Louis Airport in St. Louis, and Thursday, February 2nd at the 4 Points by Sheraton St. Louis, Fairview Heights in Fairview Heights. Weight loss seminar, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar, 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminar.com.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gsLhonorflight.org. And for heating services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
The voice for hardworking, free-thinking Americans.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
I see the bad moon rising. I see trouble on the way. I see earthquakes and lightning. I see bad times today.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
On the right. I hear hurricanes are blowing.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. We have just heard from Attorney General Merrick Garland, and he has appointed a special counsel. If you missed that news, here it is.
I strongly believe that the normal processes of this department can handle all investigations with integrity. But under the regulations, the extraordinary circumstances here require the appointment of a special counsel for this matter. This appointment underscores for the public the department's commitment to both independence and accountability in particularly sensitive matters, and to making decisions indisputably guided only by the facts and the law. I am confident that Mr. Herr will carry out his responsibility in an even-handed and urgent manner and in accordance with the highest traditions of this department.
So we've got a special counsel appointed. They're going to continue to investigate the documents that President Biden was in possession of in his private residence and in the Penn Biden Center on Capitol Hill. And there's going to be a press briefing with the White House press secretary coming up soon. We'll keep our eye on that, but I'm not going to subject you to the whole thing. I do want to highlight, just in my words, not theirs, because I care about you and I wouldn't want to do that to you. The View is talking about this, and Joy Behar said, you know what I think? I've never seen a luckier person than Donald Trump. Just as we're this close to getting him, somehow these documents appear. What an idiot. Let's find out what this is first. This is Whoopi Goldberg. Let's find out what this is first. Again, one of the things that gets me crazy is before we know, it's already been spun a specific way. Well, you don't say. You don't say. And I want you guys to listen to this show 5 extra minutes because I read that and didn't play their voices.
Wiggins! Oh! Wiggins!
Just 5 extra minutes.
Yep, that's all we want. 5 minutes of your time. You'll come away smarter. I have a question for you, Annie Frey. You have 4 children.
Yes.
Do things ever get a little rowdy in your house?
Yes.
Like you got to bring out the jaws of life to separate the kids rowdy?
No.
No? Okay, because in mine they do.
No, because I bring the heat.
So you get rowdy.
I've told this story before, but I was putting furniture together, some outdoor furniture together on the deck with my son. And we had a situation maybe days before where my husband was disciplining my son or having a conversation. He said, well, when mom gets home, I'm going to tell her about this. And he was like, no, don't tell mom. Don't do it.
Oh, man.
And I said, Charlie, why didn't you want me to know? And he's like, oh, which is how they talk.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, are you afraid of me? He goes, well, yeah, but only like how I fear God. And I was
That's a good answer.
Equal parts so proud and so sad. But yeah, no, we have rules, we have expectations. You play within the rules and the expectations. You get one warning. And then after that, the thing I detest the most in parenting, is counting to 3. Hi, here's 2.5, 2 3/4 seconds to not do what I said.
Mm-hmm.
Get to it. You know the expectations.
I like to tell the kids I'm going to count to 3 and then just get after them when it's 2. I don't even give them the extra 3.
I don't do any counting anymore. Little peek inside the Wiggins household.
Your kids are old.
Well, they're 8, and 5.
Yeah, but you don't count at that age.
If the 5-year-old could still get it.
Really?
Oh yeah. I never really did it because you're right. You just end up going to 10 by halves. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They know it.
Kids are like running around the store, knocking things off the shelf, and mom's in the aisle going, don't make me count to 3. And then she's going 2, 2.5, 2 3/4. And you're like, no wonder this kid is acting a fool.
Yeah. But they're learning fractions, I guess. I give them that.
I doubt they're paying attention.
Get to whatever it is and do it.
What happens at 3?
Do it at 3.
Yeah, it never gets to 3. Just
even if it does get to 3, it doesn't stop the behavior.
No, it doesn't work.
No.
It's just it's an easy go-to though, and we've all tried it, and I've abandoned it in favor of
not a fan.
The kids are going crazy. Sometimes they're just, I'm not actually touching you or whatever. I'm poking you. Sometimes it's full on wrestling. Then if dad comes in and announces no touching, it all stops. There's a no touching. Do you have a no touching rule in your house? Because that is the key for me. That ends it all.
Very generalized question.
Oh man.
Yes. Okay. I acknowledge that now. The reason I say that though is because the no touching rule really works for the Wiggins kids. An entire school in Essex, England has instituted a no touching rule. No touching at all. No physical contact at all. And parents are not necessarily happy about it. Here's the case from the school. They say
This is England for everybody.
Yes.
Before you get too worked up at home.
a letter was sent to parents by assistant head teacher Miss Catherine McMillan, which says forms of physical contact are not tolerated, and they include any aggressive physical contact, hugging, holding hands, slapping someone, anything like that, anything violent, but also
no more slapping. Jeez.
right, but also anything that would be affectionate between two people.
What's the age of the school?
This is a middle to high school age.
I think it's a good policy.
It continues in this order is to keep your child safe. If your child is touching somebody else, whether they are consenting or not, anything could happen. It could lead to injury, make someone feel very uncomfortable, and being someone being touched inappropriately. We want your children to make positive friendships, hopefully lifelong ones. We don't allow romantic relationships at this school. Your child is, of course, able to have these relationships with your permission outside of school. Sounds like a strong case. Here is the other side, which until I heard the parents' case, which apparently a lot of parents are pushing back on this, I thought, actually, there's a case there too. Parents are saying these rules are draconian, that they've gone too far, and claiming it will negatively affect the mental health of their children, saying, quote, the children won't know what is or isn't appropriate, and the ability to empathize with their peers is being taken away. I have a daughter and her friends greet each other with a hug, but now if they do that, they'll be in trouble. Appropriate or inappropriate? Do you think that's a good case? Because
it's not like the day before they instituted this that we were living in a world of normalcy. I don't know anything about England. I don't know anything about England schools. Nobody's doing this in the United States. So it's hard to say like, this is what's wrong with schools in America, and then be like, good on England. So that's a totally separate issue. But there is inappropriate touching all the time. It does lead to problems. There are fights. There are threats in schools, and we are not living in a normal world. Like, I don't put my kid in a public school first and foremost because I value Christian education in my home. That's not for everybody, but you can in a Lutheran schools, for instance. I would assume Catholic schools, non-denominational Christian schools. You can talk about what is right and what is wrong. And it's not just about what's right and what's wrong. You have to, be penitent and ask for forgiveness, and you have to give forgiveness. That's an important part of that whole process. If you can't define right and wrong, then you can't. Touching is subjective in every possible way. And since the other Looney Tunes took us to Looney Tuneville, I don't know that this is really an irrational reaction.
The quote that got me that I went, you know what? Actually, there's the point that I went, maybe. So after the pandemic, where everyone was starved of human contact, you're now setting everything back when students want to come in, they want to high five,
now
they want
we're
to
really
hug.
Starved about human contact with kids. Okay. You are here on the Looney Tune timeline.
Yeah.
Like we've locked our kids in their homes, in their basements, and said, here's a computer. Like, my kids still don't even have devices. I don't want them to have devices. I'll be the last one standing on this with my husband. But now we're valuing things as a culture that we have completely devalued for 2 years. I mean, things it's either important for kids to be around kids and to be able to hug each other when they see each other, or high five in the hallways because that's how they do it, or whatever it might be. Or, it's never okay to slap. It's never okay to hit. But if touching is a part of that, we don't live in a world that delineates where right starts and wrong ends. And I just think if they're going to blur all of those other rules so much, that this is where it gets to. And if I were the school, I'd put these rules into place just for the sake of saying, fine, here you go. You want to live like this? You want us as parents, or as teachers, as administrators, to try to walk these crazy lines that are always being blurred by society. Again, I don't know nothing about England and their school system. I don't know what they were doing. I don't know what they're combating against. I'm sure they didn't just wake up in 2023 and be like, let's make the kids not be able to touch each other. Maybe they have a lot of fights. If there are schools around here that have a lot of fights, they implement similar types of things. I don't know. I don't really think it's that big a deal.
So all of us are married to teachers, but Brad, you may still be a youth pastor.
Still am.
Okay. So is there a line here that you could draw and say, look, if it gets aggressive, we can say it's gone too far? Or is it easier in a person's position like you to say none at all?
I've got too many things to handle to worry about where is the line for this, So I'm kind of with Annie on this one. If we're going to ban it, just ban it all. And it has to be, to me though, it has to be a reaction to like, you guys are just, dancing around what the rules were, not to hit people, but you're hitting people. You know what kind of hugs are appropriate and you know what kind of hugs are inappropriate, but you're still trying to blur that line and dance around it. So what we're going to do is no touching.
I mean, one thing is a fact. Kids will find where the rule is and they will go right up to that line and then try to go over it without you being able to call them on it. So this does seem like there's some logic behind it. I just get sad when I think about having come through. It was that quote that they said, we've come through this pandemic. We've already isolated ourselves so much. And maybe it's because my kids are a little bit younger and they love high-fiving. They love, especially my daughter, they hold hands and they hug with their friends. I would hate to not see that stuff. These kids are a little bit older. So
well, and the thing is that can still happen. It just doesn't have to happen at school. So whenever they see one another outside of school, they can high five, they can hug, whatever. But yeah, I'm kind of with the school on this one here because, I don't think that it was just like the school's like the grumpy guy, like, oh, we're going to ban all of this. No, I think that there was more to this story and there was more that led up to this. And they're like, fine, we're done.
Yeah, certainly stopping inappropriate contact, usually of a romantic nature, that is tough to do.
Or a violent nature.
Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah, either way. But I guess it is a rule that I think we could see happen more and more and more. But I would hope that there would be a little bit more subjectivity to it. That's all. I just hope that they can draw the line a little bit differently than none.
There's a huge amount of that story that we don't know. So I don't know. I'm kind of for bringing the heat because our society is so off kilter that this is going to make people rethink some of those things that they had held to so strongly before. Tyrus and Tom DeVore when we come back.
Hi, this is Brian with Velocity Home Buyers, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-782-3333. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition and any price range in the St. Louis area. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that needs updating, but you don't have the time or money for it? Great, because I love buying outdated houses. I buy vacant houses, job relocation houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 314-782-3333. That's 314-782-3333.
Slim 180 online at myslim180.com can help you get to your health goal. If you were looking to lose weight in 2023, Slim 180 is there to help you walk through that whole process. And if you're a little unsure, but you want to commit to something, I've had people in my private life walk up to me and be like, so did Slim 180 really work for you? It did. It really did work for me. And I hope that it can work for you as well. Just sit down and let them earn your business. Let them earn your trust. You have a conversation with the counselors there and you learn about their nutritional guidance program that's going to help you learn what you can eat. It's not incredibly restrictive. There's a lot of foods on that plan that I really enjoy. There is an HCG program that can help you drop the weight and drop it fast. Reach out to Slim 180 to start this process today. If you sit down by the end of January with them, schedule that free consultation. Regardless of what happens after that consultation, you're going to get a free appetite suppressant from them. Reach out to them on their website to find all of their locations, their contact information. It's all there at myslim180.com. That's myslim180.com.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, the 9 critical decisions when retiring before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, healthcare, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-5787 8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, the 9 critical decisions when retiring before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is a Fox News alert. Another special counsel, Elisa Brady. Attorney General Merrick Garland just announcing the appointment of former U.S. Attorney Robert Hur to probe President Biden's handling of classified documents.
The document authorizes him to investigate whether any person or entity violated the law in connection with this matter.
This just hours after a White House lawyer confirmed that another batch of classified material was found at one of the president's 2 homes in Delaware. The first batch from the president's time as vice president was found days before the midterm elections at a think tank office and not disclosed until this week. President Biden telling reporters earlier today,
"People know I take classified documents and classified material seriously. I also said we're cooperating fully and completely with the Justice Department's review.
In November, Garland appointed a special counsel to oversee probes related to former President Trump, including his handling of classified documents. Garland says the new appointment underscores his department's commitment to independence and accountability. The new House Speaker said earlier today Congress should investigate, while also defending the early days of the new House GOP majority.
Republican Speaker Kevin McCarthy praised the new bipartisan select committee creation on China, noted Republicans have already voted to strip new IRS funding, and voted to protect U.S. oil reserves from sales to China.
That's just the first 5 days, and we're just getting started.
He said of the chaos last week to elect him as Speaker that it will only make the party stronger in the long run.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. President Biden says he'll veto bills that hurt Americans.
Well, let me be very clear. If any of these bills make it to my desk, I will veto them. I will flat veto them. I'm ready to work with the Republicans, not this kind of stuff.
He says Republican proposals would make inflation worse and save money for billionaires. America is listening to Fox News.
As a Walgreens pharmacist, I talk with people all the time about little tips and tricks for filling their Medicare prescriptions, like taking advantage of Walgreens 90-day refills to save them a trip, or using Refill by Scan, which is super easy and right on your phone. And for anybody worried about prescription costs, I say, hey, we got you with low-cost copays on many medications.
Let's talk about making things easier. Walgreens is here. Fill your way and save at walgreens.com/Medicare. See pharmacists for restrictions and exclusions.
Make a New Year's resolution that's ezy to keep. Help protect your identity and finances with LifeLock Identity Theft Protection. LifeLock detects identity threats you may miss on your own. And if you become a victim, LifeLock will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses. But LifeLock by Norton makes it easy to help protect yourself. Join now and save up to 25% off your first year. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
The northwest wind and slowly falling temperatures the rest of the day as clouds control. We should settle at about 35 degrees late this afternoon. It stays windy and it's quite cold overnight, 25, cold compared to where we've been. Friday, clouds giving way to a little bit of afternoon sun, 35 degrees. Saturday, sunny and 45. Sunday, clouds and 53. More rain on Monday. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Conservatives Care is a new 97.1 monthly action plan to change your neighborhoods and our nation, one project at a time. In January, we're inviting you to join us in the Missouri USO in serving our troops by visiting missouri.uso.org.
What if everything you got came with a little bit of money? Spicy chicken ramen with a side of quarters, a full tank of gas, and a $5 bill, an entire pantry's worth of groceries, and a pocket full of cash. Well, then you'd be living life on the upside. The first platform that gives you real cash back in real life wherever you roll. Restaurants, grocery stores, gas stations, all cashback opportunities. So order the expensive appetizer, buy a little extra at the store, fill your gas tank till the pump stops. Because with Upside, you can. Start earning cash back just for doing you. Download the free Upside app and use promo code SPICY for an extra $10 cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. That's promo code SPICY. Promo code SPICY, SPICY, for an extra $10 on the free Upside app. Start living life on the upside with the free Upside app.
Hey, this is Lisa Stofan. Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking with hypnosis. Hypnosis eliminated my desire for soda and fast food, made me want to exercise, and I lost 60 pounds in 6 months. My energy level exploded. I went to another session to deal with some other problem foods, and I lost another 10 pounds. In fact, I brought my husband, and he lost weight, and his cholesterol and blood pressure improved. My friend lost 20 pounds her first 2 months.
What are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed for only $49.99. Hypnosis is designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late-day eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. That's right, seminars, Wednesday, February 1st at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites, St. Louis Airport in St. Louis, and Thursday, February 2nd at the 4 Points by Sheraton, St. Louis, Fairview Heights in Fairview Heights. Weight loss seminar, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar, 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminar.com.
I'm Eric Robert with Stifel. The economy is always changing, but what does it mean for your investments? Join me and fellow Stifel financial advisor Bob Stockdale during On the Money, Saturday mornings from 11 until noon on 97.1 FM Talk. Stifel, member NYSE and SIPC.
Everybody knows, you've got to get it at Clement.
Son, what do you think? Since it's a new year, should people get a new car?
Absolutely, Dad. And they'll get it at Clement.
We have the best prices in town, and we're willing to back it with our 30-day price match guarantee.
Whoa! 30 days to prove the price was the best in town?
That's right. Save with the lowest prices up front and enjoy a 30-day price match guarantee. Visit ClementAutoGroup.com.
ClementAutoGroup.com.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing. Together, millions of things for our planet. Make the switch to green soaps and personal products and green cleaning products for the sink and shower. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
President Biden said yesterday that he was surprised by the news that classified documents were found in his old think tank office and added he wasn't sure what was in the files. Yes, the old grandpa caught shoplifting maneuver. What's that? There's something in my pocket. Oh, Charleston Chew. How could that happen?
Well, for those at home who don't recognize that voice, that's Seth Meyers. And I kind of get why you don't. Why is it that Seth Meyers is making jokes about Joe Biden? Well, we just found out just within the last hour or so that there is a special counsel that has been appointed to the classified documents case that Joe Biden has now found two troves. I don't know if it's a trove. Does it matter? One of them is next to, as Joe Biden will remind you repeatedly, his Corvette in his locked garage. I don't know why the Corvette is so important here, but I'm kind of excited to see in Chapter 4 why it is. I can't wait to hear what our friend Tyrus has to say about this.
You're becoming like my most stable relationship.
Enough said.
You see him as a Fox News contributor. You've read his book, Just Tyrus, a Memoir. You saw him last night on Gutfeld with our friend Rob Schneider. We love Rob Schneider. Welcome back to the show, Tyrus. Good to see you here.
Hey, to be clear, I believe it was a bushel.
Not a trove. I mean, I'm really struggling, Tyrus. So let's not talk about like what actually happened. Let's talk for a second.
Let's never do that.
No, let's talk for the obvious conversation and let's assess the conversation. Like you and I sitting there like the old men on the Muppets, Point,
both persons.
Oh,
Come on, Annie.
I did not ask them their gender. Correct. Is the Trump situation and the Biden situation, should we be comparing them? Is it fruitful to sit here and point in a political way back and forth, or are we talking about law stuff?
Okay, first, we shouldn't be comparing them. They're two completely different situations. That's number one. Number two, he keeps finding new places. It's like a treasure hunt. So my favorite is the Corvette, but the good news is the garage is locked.
It reminds me of like the teenage guy who, like, no matter what you're talking about, he wants to drop in the Corvette conversation. And you're like, I'm not into your Corvette. Like, I need to say this out loud to you, but he just keeps trying.
Yeah, he's like, check out my car. But the good news is the Corvette was locked up as well. So I guess that was from, so Hunter couldn't borrow it. You look at this and it's shameful. I'm glad they assigned a special counsel. But again, it just goes back to, this is just a really dishonest administration. But more importantly than that, he doesn't remember anyways. So even if he had a great excuse, right, a logical explanation, he doesn't remember it. Let's not forget it was like 3 days ago and I'm still stuck on this, that he got the Salvation Army confused with Secret Service, to the point where he started telling the guy a story about him with the Secret Service, to where the poor guy then pointed to the guy with the red shirt and said, "We're the Salvation Army, sir. We're not the Secret Service." That's our president of the United States. And you expect him to tell you what he did with documents that he got over 5.5 years ago? Mm-hmm. This wasn't like this weekend and he left them in the car. This is when he was VP. So that means it was 4 years of those documents are just sitting around, unless I'm taking crazy pills. But that's what the media is trying to spin. They're making it sound like it just happened. But we had these documents for a long time.
And they knew about him the week before the election, too. Like this, the revelation that he had these documents was, I think, November 3rd. It was a week before the election. They worked really hard to make the Mar-a-Lago story a huge point of focus and interest in those weeks leading up to the election. I can only imagine that if the roles would have been reversed, if they'd have found this stuff from Joe Biden first, and then you think if Donald Trump has documents found 1 week before the election in his house, they're like, we should keep this on the down low.
Okay. Well, I think this is some kind of inside job. Like they could have buried this for a little longer. I think that they're starting to make that move. I'm not a conspiracy theory unless it's a good movie, but I think this is coming from the inside. Maybe Kamala's not as quiet as we think she is, but they're gonna start showing how incompetent he is. So I'm interested to see what happens going forward. I think we're going to see a lot more things start leaking out and magically appearing. So I think the Biden presidency is in trouble, and it's not going to be from the House. It's coming from within. I think he served his purpose, and they're going to make their move. It's just the timing of this is just weird to me.
Yeah. Well, the timing of that statement is interesting to me as well. Today, our YouTube live chat poll on the Annie Frey YouTube channel is, does the Democrat Party want a Biden second term? And I think you just said out loud what I was thinking when I wrote that question. Because I don't think they do. I think they're like, we need to cut bait.
Well, they didn't want it at all. They just needed him. And because of his mental status, they were able to still get things across that Biden normally probably wouldn't be okay with. So, for them, it's worked out kind of nice. They haven't had any questioning of anything. The only thing he fights about is when somebody calls him old. He doesn't like that at all. But so they've gotten their agenda across, and now that the House is going to be a problem, suddenly I think that he served his purpose. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting to see, but typically Democrats play their hands bad when they do this kind of stuff. So we'll just have to wait and see. It's shameful that we have to go through this, but I just found it hilarious that he gave a speech knowing that they had already discovered the second box, saying there was only one in Mexico. So he read the pre-written statement. Of course, that's all he's going to do. But knowing, or at least his staff knew, that the second one had already been turned in or discovered, or however they want to put it. So we're looking at just the complete just destruction of any credibility this president had. And there's no reason to even compare any of this to President Trump's situation. It's completely different.
Yeah. I watch how I'm paying attention to how the media covers this. Are we covering what actually took place, or are we only covering on both sides? Honestly, I'm watching Fox and I'm watching MSNBC. We read a story from CNN. CNN has on their top story is classified docs found in garage of Biden home. And then when you look on it, they have a side-by-side little graphic there, classified documents found. And it's got Joe Biden, Donald Trump, and then it just compares the two. And it's really just an advocacy for Joe Biden, just to say he's not as bad as Donald Trump. I think they won an entire election based on that mentality.
Yeah, I mean, when you have philosophers like Behar saying, "Well, we know Trump is a crook, and we know, but so we should give Biden the benefit of the doubt." Yeah, that's how this works. Again, one has nothing to do with the other. Putting them together is just their clever way of, like you said, trying to excuse illegal behavior by the president. And like I said, there's a lot of investigation stuff. See, the thing about the difference between Trump and President Biden, this is the only time I'll compare him, is that everything he was accused of, whether he was a Russian spy or he cheated on his taxes or he did this or he did that, he was always able to prove that he did not do these things. So that's why he's not sitting with an orange vest on, no matter how much they want him to be. They just keep making accusations, and he keeps beating them. Whereas as Biden, there is no accusations, but he keeps having things come up. So I think that's something that everyone needs to look at closely, is that there is no active campaign to take out Biden. He's protected very well, and now that protection isn't there for him. And that's the question those are the questions we are asking. Like, why all of a sudden now is all this stuff coming out?
Yeah, it is a really, really great point. We're speaking with Tyrus. He is on Gutfeld, Fox News contributor as well. He has a podcast, Tyrus and Tim podcast. You can subscribe to that and download that. You're a man who's been known from time to time to take a flight or two. How confident, uncomfortable are you feeling with the air traffic situation in our country right now?
Incompetence is one thing. Mistakes happen. I think I'm a million miler on Delta, and I've flown just about everywhere on this planet. And you're going to have mishaps, delays, cancellations, things like that. Weather, not enough employees, all that stuff. I think you can take it in stride, But when it's coming from the top, Buttigieg is just not qualified to do this job. He had no answers, and his best guess was to call President Biden on the phone for 10 minutes to talk about what happened with the computer shutting down. Again, I reiterate, to a man who thought the Salvation Army was the Secret Service.
I'm going to send in the military to fix these planes.
So he called him about airplanes, and I'm sure the conversation ended with, "Let me know when the ice cream man comes, because I like ice cream." So there is no way, there's no confidence. But Buttigieg, he had these problems in Indiana, correct? He had the same exact problem. He's always going on vacation. He's always taking advantage of this. He was using Army airplanes for personal stuff. Like, this is just what they do, why they virtue signal. And they're just not very good about covering up when things go bad. Again, their only answer is, well, look what the other administration did. Well, we didn't have these issues, and when we did, we had transparency from our president, to where he would come out and discuss these debates in open forums with the press, get into arguments a lot of times. But we knew what was going on, and we would hear the plan.
Yeah.
Now it is, I spoke to him for 10 minutes, stay tuned.
I really think that when I look at what's taking place with the airline industry, God willing, it's no cyber attack, and it is, I guess, just incompetence. Are we rooting for incompetence right now? I guess we kind of are.
No, because if it's a cyber attack, they're off the hook. In terms of, they knew, we would have known right away if it was a cyber attack. Just like when they took Sony, when they did those things, it was cyber attack, Sony's being, they know.
Yeah. Well,
they would like if they go ahead and leak that and try to get that out there to buy them some time. Someone plants a question. Was it a cyber attack? Well, we're investigating that. No, it's not. It's incompetence. It's, again, you continue to hire people that check boxes and not resumes.
It's all political. Everything we care about in our conversations anymore is about the political nature of it. And meanwhile, our air system is in the crapper. And these are the types of things that I have to think that, in the Trump years, it was all focused on political with him. In the Biden years, it's not gone away. It's probably going to stay that way for a while. What will have to crumble in order for us to be like, maybe the people who are in Washington, D.C., who are supposed to be looking out for these things that are mutually shared by the public, maybe we should get back to actually caring about those important things.
When things like our infrastructure implodes from the inside because we've become completely dependent on electricity, with our grids aren't able to barely hold what we have now, as if we didn't learn anything from what happened in Texas last winter. With threatening, now they're going to put more. I love how our health is so easily threatened. Like now gas stoves cause all kinds of issues. Like, it doesn't, and they continue to, it makes us sick, so we have to stop doing it. So, because they want to push electric stoves. Why is that? Well, it's the same reason why all of a sudden they wanted to hire 87,000 IRS agents, and the same reason why they wanted to make everyone buy an electric car with a lithium battery, which is a time bomb with severe weather or water. But they're not concerned with anyone. What's really, it's the money. It's literally they're trying to make as much money as they possibly can to put themselves in a situation like oil and coal, so they can have that big money and make those big, those controllings in their campaigns. So and the American people, and like I said, I'm by no means a genius, but just looking, it's not that you can see a hustle. You don't have to go to Cambridge to know if you're being hustled or not. And we are being hustled. Anytime it's for the environment. If you listen to them, there's no polar bears and we're all supposed to be 3 feet underwater. And according to AOC, I think we have a year and a half left.
Yeah.
At what point do you say this is a hustle? And we're being hustled.
Yeah. I think that the more free speaking that takes place, the more likely that these things are going to come out. And I will say, I've said this to you before, I will say it to you again. The Gutfeld show is kind of ground zero, in my opinion, for that, because you guys push the limits every night on what can be talked about, what can be brought up for conversation. You have a discussion with different people from different areas and walks of life. And I think that just by virtue of kind of cracking that surface, you guys are really at the forefront of changing the way we call things out, which is really what media used to be about previously.
Well, if you just take politics out of it, it's like, obviously you and I cannot have a debate over the Red Sox and the St. Louis Cardinals. Because no matter how the conversation ends, we're going to say our team is better.
Right.
So if you and I talk about the New York Mets and the New York Yankees, we can probably have a decent conversation because neither one of us is emotionally involved. So if you start taking your own stuff out of it, your own issues out of it, it's pretty easy to look at this stuff and when you talk about it, you can be like, wow, this is a hustle. But if you're defensive, it's like someone's trying to tell you that your kid isn't good at math, but you won't want to hear anything bad about your kid, so you're going to fight and argue with them. But you're perfectly willing to talk about the kid down the street and his issues. So it's just, that's what it is. And I think that's what I try to do is I take my stuff out of it. And regardless of whether it's a Democrat or Republican thing or whatever, just look at it for what it is. And then use your life experiences, use your wisdom. Like this, you shouldn't be this. We stop reading headlines and actually read the stories.
Sure.
This is a lot simpler. It's just, it comes down to if the conversation you and I are having is only having it because we're Republicans out to get them. So you can't argue with that.
Yeah.
You can't argue with truth has no defense for an idiot who's in love with a lie. Who's emotionally intact with a lie. There's no way to argue it. And we need to stop having the arguments and just focus on taking care of our circles because you can't argue with someone who's emotionally involved. You just can't.
Re-inject some objectivity into the conversation. Tyrus, thank you for being with us here. We always love talking to you.
Appreciate it. Oh, by the way, we have 4 seats left at Edwardsville.
Four seats at the Wild E in Edwardsville. Go grab them. I'll share the link to that right now. Let's see if we can sell them out. There's got to be some singles out there who want to mingle. Get out there at the Wild E and taking a show.
Or like if your spouse talks a lot during movies, this would be a good time to get something together.
Make separate plans. All right, Tyrus, thank you. We love talking to you. We'll have you back again next week.
Yep.
Bye. Tyrus is the co-host of the Tyrus and Tim podcast. You see him on Gutfeld. Rob Schneider was on last night with Gutfeld. We've talked about that quite a bit. It's not his first time on the show, but it was great to see him back there. He was funny, and he definitely pushed the envelope in some of the comments that he made on that show. But there are several instances of late night commentators, late night show hosts that are kind of maybe poking a little bit at some of the issues that normally they hadn't before. But interesting to see hear Seth Meyers talk about the grandpa, the president of the United States, he referred to as a grandpa, and these documents. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, Illinois folks and everybody who is a Second Amendment respecting individual, have you seen what they're trying to do in the state of Illinois? Have you seen what is they're doing with the Second Amendment? Like just completely and totally undermining it in an incredibly unconstitutional way. Well, we're going to speak with a lawyer who is an expert when it comes to these Illinois cases. You've heard of him before. He's been on the show. He's been in the studio. Tom DeVore on the Annie Frey Show in a minute.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
I'm Howard Mackler of GetRefunds.com. You may have heard me talk about the payroll tax refund program that gives businesses up to $26,000 for every employee they kept on payroll during COVID. But today, I'm not going to do the talking. I'm letting a real Get Refunds client tell you everything.
I'm Dennis Brewer, the owner of IPM Services. I heard about payroll tax refund and GetRefunds.com on the radio. When COVID hit my business, production slowed down. We were unable to give employees bonuses. They got me approved for a payroll tax refund, and with that money, it allowed me to pay off debt and get bonuses. If you have a business, you should go to GetRefunds.com and start your claim right now.
GetRefunds.com helped their business, and we can help yours too. Go to GetRefunds.com and see if you qualify in just 8 minutes. GetRefunds.com, powered by Innovation Refunds.
So Air Comfort Service, I talked to you a lot about how they've come into my home and replaced the HVAC system and the water heater and done an AeroSeal duct sealing in my house. I want to talk to you about how they can help you with your commercial repair. So if you run a business or if you maintain properties and you have commercial needs when it comes to your HVAC system, Air Comfort Service is there to help you. 314-513-0091. If you're listening and you own a business and you don't have somebody like this, maybe put that phone number in your phone right now. So if the issue arises, you go to the people who are the best in the business. 314-513-0091. Air Comfort Service has provided residential and commercial heating and cooling services for over 50 years here locally in St. Louis. You can call Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation to get a free second opinion on commercial HVAC repairs. They understand the big situations. They understand the little ones, like in my house, and they are there to help walk you through that process. Call a company you can trust for that free second opinion on commercial HVAC repairs. 314-513-0091. 314-513-0091. You can find them online at aircomfortservice.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Missouri Congressman Jason Smith.
We are the party of the working class. I believe that if the Democrats also want to help working class Americans, we might be able to find some common ground.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
St. Louis is home for conservative talk.
The preacher man says it's the end of time, and the Mississippi River, she's a going dry.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
Market's down, and you're only getting mugged if you go downtown. I live back in the woods, you see. A woman and the kids and the dogs and me. I got a shotgun, a rifle, and a four-wheel drive, and a country boy can survive. Country folks can survive.
The fact is that, yes, there are, of course, people who are trying to politically grandstand, who want to make a name for themselves by claiming that they will not comply. But the reality is that the state police is responsible for enforcement, as are all law enforcement all across this state. And they will, in fact, do their job, or they won't be in their job.
Okay, so there Pritzker puts lays the law down, one might say, on those in law enforcement who are suggesting they're not going to enforce Pritzker's gun ban. I want to play this here real quick before we get to our next guest, because what ban are we actually talking
about? Pritzker made Illinois the 9th state to ban assault-style weapons.
Today, I couldn't be prouder to say that we got it done. We got this done for all the victims, the spouses, the children, parents, friends, and loved ones who are no longer with us, and for those who have survived mass shootings.
Okay, so that is what has taken place in Illinois. A lot of people who are paying a lot of attention to what's going on in legislation may know about this, but what happens next? Well, we go to a legal expert, our friend Tom DeVore. He joins us now as an attorney. He ran for Attorney General in the state of Illinois. Boy, it'd be nice to have you in that spot right now, Tom. Welcome back to the show.
Hello, Annie.
How are you doing? I mean, watching all of this take place and unfold, it's got to be frustrating to you, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, you got to, sometimes you got to not let that frustration consume too much, because it's not really productive, sadly. So I'm in the process of drafting a couple of lawsuits against good old JB and get them filed here in the future. But I was listening before you brought me on about, him pounding his chest about what he's going to do if they don't, enforce this law. And I just started laughing. It's just, he's such a pontificator. There's nothing you can do about any of that, but that's okay.
So tell us, Tom, what did the Illinois legislature pass and J.B. Pritzker sign? What's the new law in the state of Illinois?
Well, the law it's a couple of things. One is it relates to individual citizens. It's saying that if you have a weapon that meets this category of assault weapon, which is too complicated to have that conversation on the radio, you have to, if you're going to possess it, you have to register that weapon with the Illinois State Police by January 24, and you can no longer sell it. You can't buy a new one, obviously, either, and you can only pass it to your heirs. So that's what it says as it relates to citizens. As to FFL or dealers, you can't sell them to citizens, etc. But interestingly enough, Annie, they created a carve-out, and if you are a prison guard or a jailer at a local jail or a retired police officer, you're exempt from this whole law, and you can own as many assault weapons as you want, and you can have as many 30-round magazines as you. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Why would they need to, because this is a state government that's in the business of determining what you need as far as where your Second Amendment rights. But why would those individuals need to have access to that type of a product?
Well, it again, just so we're clear, I believe the whole law is unconstitutional on federal grounds. So let's set that aside for a second. the issue of, from a state perspective, let's just talk about state constitutional process right now. It absolutely is irrational to say we're going to limit the right of citizens in Illinois to have the ability to buy, sell, and you have to register, et cetera, these weapons, that if you're a prison guard or if you're a jailer at the local jail, that you're excluded. There's no rational relation to any of that. It's completely ridiculous. Violates equal protection of the state of Illinois is one of the arguments I'm going to make, and I think we win that argument.
So we're speaking with Tom DeVore. He is an attorney. He ran for attorney general in the state of Illinois in this previous election and really did compete pretty well considering how dramatically the Republicans lost across the state of Illinois. I'm curious what it looks like. You said you're getting ready to file some lawsuits. What do these gun owners right now who are about to be made criminals if they don't adhere to J.B. Pritzker's demands in this law, what lawsuits are you going to file here, and what do these gun owners need to know?
Well, let's make sure this, as it relates, because I'm going to talk about citizens, not as firearms dealers. Let's set the dealers aside. As a citizen, if you are an owner right now of let's call it a categorical assault rifle, you don't have to do anything until, if you wanted to comply with this law by January of 2024, register it with what's called an endorsement affidavit with the Illinois State Police. So as of today, if you're an owner of one of these weapons, you're not in violation of anything. Now, you can't go buy a new one because nobody is selling them right now today in the state of Illinois. But that's really what it is for individuals. As far as what we're doing is we actually right now have an effort going out on my website at DeVoreLawOffices.com where people can register with us if they choose to, and we're going to bring two causes of action, one in the state court, which I'll probably have ready here very soon, and then the other one in federal court, where we're going to make arguments that this law has a variety of constitutional issues, because sadly, Annie, in Illinois, we keep dealing with the issue of this bill was for all but 3 days of its life, a paragraph change in the Illinois insurance code dealing with your having to give your email to an insurance adjuster, giving their email to a potential claimant. And they, within 2 days, converted it to this gun rights grab. So we're going to take that issue to the court. The Supreme Court's got to put an end to that garbage. So if we're going to pass these kind of laws in Illinois, you got to give the citizens at least some chance to deliberate these issues with the legislature. So, but again, they can go out and check that out if they want.
Okay. What was the website again?
DeVoreLawOffices.com. We got all the information out there. We've got quite a few people right now that are joining in on this that want to be a part of it, and people can take a look at that.
DeVoreLawOffices.com for people who are interested. Tom, this last election was a huge disappointment for me, specifically for many people in Illinois. And we're about to pay the price of the government that we elect. And the Democrats are going to have more control in the state than they did previously. Now that the new General Assembly is being sworn in and Pritzker has been sworn in, you've got to see an up close and personal look at what it's like to run as a Republican in the state of Illinois. And I just want you to give, you don't have to give any dirty details, but there are Republicans that you've met, many of them, who care deeply about this state. They don't want to have to sacrifice their home to just get in a U-Haul and go to some other state somewhere else that values their freedom. There's a lot of very disenfranchised, upset, and tired people out there who don't like the way that Illinois is going. What do you say to those folks?
What I say to them is I'm going to give them a little tough love. You need to quit complaining about it and actually do something. The biggest issue we have, Annie, statewide right now is that not enough people that comport to Republican ideals do anything. They're not involved in the process. And so, the government that we have right now in Illinois is a reflection of the people who participate in government, participate being the big word. Not enough Republicans or people that lean center right participate. And so you get what you ask for. And not only are we, again, fighting with the Democrats, we're fighting with those in the Republican caucus who probably think more like a Democrat than they do a Republican. Let us not forget that the former House leader of the Republican Party for over 2 decades, Jim Durkin, voted in favor of this gun bill. He just voted in favor of this gun bill. he is now resigning from the legislature after 2 decades. But your current House and minority leaders, you'll be surprised to know this, Andy. Your current House minority leaders in the Republican Party and in the Senate, you know who one of their primary contributors is to their campaigns?
Who?
The Teachers Union, the
IEA.
Illinois Education Association.
Mm-hmm.
It's their primary contributors. And so who do you think they're representing?
Yeah.
I mean, that's Republicans got to take a hard look at this stuff, and they've got to figure out what they're going to do. So that's what I say to them. It's not just enough to be upset. What have you done as a citizen in the last year of any significance to help promote politically the platform of the party?
You think Illinois is savable?
Yes. Absolutely. I know it's savable. I've already got a plan of how we can win in Illinois, but you know what it takes, Annie? It takes people and it takes money. We don't have any billionaires. We don't have a Governor Pritzker in Illinois that wants to finance the efforts that I have already started working with some people out in Nevada and a couple on the East Coast of the process of how Republicans can do their part and actually win in Illinois. It's a lot of work. Here's the difference between what I consider a Republican that believes in our platform, and I'm a moderate. I'm not real far right on a lot of things. But those who in our party leadership right now, our party leadership is of the opinion that we need to have candidates that are center left, almost pretty much close to being Democratic philosophy, in order to win a statewide election. I absolutely disagree with him. I think Republicans can win, but they have to do the hard work. We have to do it statewide. We have to have a plan. We have to have a process that people will commit to helping us support financially. Republican Party is in complete disarray in Illinois. Those in leadership are completely clueless on what to do, and that's why we don't win elections.
Yeah. Well, Tom, I'm going to play the lottery Friday, and hopefully I become a billionaire. And I'm going to make some noise, if you know what I mean.
You call me.
I will. You can be my lawyer. I appreciate that. Tom, thanks for coming on. I'd like to follow up with you as you get these lawsuits filed and that you're out there actually fighting the fight. We appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Attorney Tom DeVore, he said DeVoreLawOffices.com, I believe, if you're interested in the lawsuits that he is going to be filing against the gun bill that J.B. Pritzker's real proud of. It's going to look real good on his presidential resume. Gross. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to speak with Matt Pauley. Is that right? KMOX sports reporter is going to join us and talk to us about some moves in the St. Louis Cardinals coaching staff that kind of caught Brad and I off guard here a little bit. So when we come back, we'll give you those headlines with Matt Pauley on the Annie Frey Show. Don't go away.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
And the Rocky Mountains and the western skies. And we can skin a buck, we can run a trot line, and a country boy can survive. Country folks can survive.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight guaranteed, only $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late day eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. Also, stop smoking with Mark Patrick. No matter how many times you tried to quit, this hypnosis is designed to destroy your desire to smoke without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Seminars Wednesday, February 1st at the Holiday Inn Express Suites St. Louis Airport in St. Louis, and Thursday, February 2nd at the 4 Points by Sheraton St. Louis Fairview Heights in Fairview Heights. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
Tuesday, January 24th. You want to come out and hang out with me for a little bit? Well, I'm going to be at the Protecting Your Retirement educational event at the Plaza Frontenac Hilton. And that event starts at 6:30 p.m. You got to reserve your spot. I'm going to get there at 6 and try to meet you. So I hope you can sign up. You can call 314-993-9494. 314-993-9494 and sign up for this really great free event. I'll be there. Mark Cox and Mark Reardon will be there as well. And you're going to be able to learn in a concise amount of time how Thomas Helbig, how Bob Kershaw, and the Retirement Advisory Group help you protect your money. If you're 59 and a half or older, you can now roll over your 401k tax-free to protect your nest egg and still generate more income than most investment options. They're going to give you keys like this. They're going to help you understand why so many other 97.1 and Annie Frey Show listeners go with Thomas Helbig to engage in that worry-free retirement. Reserve your spot for the Tuesday, January 24th Frontenac Hilton event. Starts at 6:30 at 314-993-9494. You can go online to retirementkey.com.
Want immediate cash for your home or see what your home is really worth in today's market? Find out for free from the local experts, my friends Mark and Neil Gelman of eXp Realty. Check out thegelmanteam.com today. That's thegelmanteam.com.
The federal government is hiring 87,000 new IRS employees and enforcement agents. Make no mistake, with spending out of control, they're looking to collect revenue. The first target will be you. If you have not paid your taxes or filed them in years, let me help you get that target off your back. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm here in St. Louis. So if you have unfiled returns, wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, now's the time to call the Lance Drury Law Firm before the IRS calls you. Your consultation is free, so don't put it off. The Lance Drury Law Firm focuses solely on tax resolution law. It's all we do. And if you have IRS problems, you have legal problems. Let us use our tax law resolution experience to guide you and work on your custom resolution plan. Call now. It's free and confidential. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to Lance, DRURY law.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Save up to $900 in utility rebates and see if you qualify for 0% financing on a new high-efficiency HVAC system. For details and to get into your comfort zone, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Free speech has a home. 97.1 FM Talk.
Your home for conservative talk.
One of the only places where conservative ideas aren't shut out of the conversation. The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
My heart, 'cause she never looked back. About every lie she ever sold me, like a wet blanket, I let her fold me. Now I'm right here with no one to hold me. I said, hey. I said, oh. I said, hey, ho, hey, ho, hey, ho. There she goes, goes.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. We're glad that you're here with us. It's been a busy day on the show so far. Started it off with Attorney General Merrick Garland press conference talking about appointing a special counsel to look into the Joe Biden classified documents. Yes, if you feel like this is deja vu, just change the Biden name to the Trump name, and now we're back to that again. How are they different? We'll continue to follow that as the news continues to break. But in the meantime, we've also spoken with Tyrus. We just got done speaking with Tom DeVore in Illinois. And in the meantime, we saw that some news come through due to the St. Louis Cardinals making a new hire for their coaching staff. And I got a lot of questions. We welcome on to the show Matt Pauley. He is the host of Sports Open Line on KMOX. Matt, thank you for being here today. Tell us all about what's going on.
Yeah, so, Matt Holliday was hired as the new bench coach shortly after Skip Schumacher took the Marlins managerial position, and he has evidently made the decision that he wants to spend more time with family, that when he got done playing, part of the idea was that he wanted to be able to spend time with family. You can't do that if you are living the Major League Baseball lifestyle, so he makes the decision just a few months after he accepts the job that he's not going to take it, and now he ends up he's not going to be in that position, and they hired Joe McEwing, another former Cardinal. And McEwing, as much as people might remember him as a player, he has a long coaching career. He was in the White Sox organization for, I think, about 15 years. Most recently was their third base coach. Before that, he was their bench coach. He was a minor league manager for years and years with the White Sox. He's interviewed for multiple major league managerial positions, including previously with the Cardinals. So if you're going to have an opening this late in the cycle, this is a pretty good guy to be able to go grab.
So since we're like a talk station over here, not a sports talk station, he's the bench coach. What does that guy do?
He is somebody who during the game is able to just kind of give his thoughts to the manager, kind of staying in front of things. Hey, look out for this. There's a lot of other things like during the day that goes on, whether it's film, whether it's strategy, all that sort of stuff. But in game, which is probably the most important part of this, he's somebody that can really serve as an advisor to the manager.
So what was it? I mean, it's a little strange to me that Matt Holliday would step into this role and, didn't really probably have to do much other than maybe some off-season conversations and business like that that's taking place. Do you just take him at his word, family time, and he just got closer to it and thought, oh, this isn't really what I wanted to do?
Yeah, I mean, right now I do. There's no reason to believe there's something nefarious going on. Now, does that mean something didn't happen in the last few days that all of a sudden it would have looked really bad if he was part of the Cardinals? I guess that's always a possibility, but there's no reason to believe that's what happened here. Annie, the baseball lifestyle is really, really tough. As somebody who broadcast minor league baseball for 10 years and then has been working around Major League Baseball for coming up on 10 years, I can tell you, and I'm just a broadcaster. I'm not even a player, a coach, anything. I just kind of live that lifestyle. It's a really challenging thing. It's every single day. When you're a coach, you're first one of the ballpark, you're last one to leave. And if you do have a young family and you want to spend time with them, that's half of the year where you don't have it. So yeah, he loves the Cardinals. Matt Holliday does. And I think, and he has got a great relationship with Oliver Marmol. So I think when they present this job to him all these months ago, kind of in theory, wow, this is an amazing opportunity being the bench coach for the Cardinals. But I would only think that as time has passed, he's probably realized, you know what, I've got a family here that I want to spend some time with. I can do all these other things later on in my life.
Yeah, I completely understand that. If you've got aspirations, career aspirations, when you have that family, I have a big family myself, it does have to be the major factor in saying, yes, I can do this, or no, I really can't do this right now. That doesn't mean it won't happen again in the future, but at the point in time, if you're choosing your family, you're making the right choice. So Matt Holliday out, Joe McEwing in. Tell me what else has gone on in the Cardinals offseason so far. It doesn't seem to have been an incredibly noisy offseason, especially considering a lot of the big marquee names that went into retirement and won't be back in the 2023 season.
Yeah, I think the last time you had me on was just shortly after the acquisition of Wilson Contreras, and really not a whole lot has gone on since then. You know, John Mozeliak was on KMOX this past Sunday morning, and he basically said, if you're expecting more big moves this offseason, you're probably going to be disappointed. Here's what I think is going on. I don't think this roster is complete. I think there are still pieces that are needed on this roster for them to compete at the highest level. But I also think they've got a ton of question marks. You look at the outfield, Tyler O'Neill, Lars Nootbaar, Dylan Carlson. You got two guys who have never even done it for a full season, and you have O'Neill who's never done it for multiple seasons. I guess on the infield, you do have Arenado and Goldschmidt, and to a certain extent Edman, but there's still some question marks at second. Does Brendan Donovan follow up his season last season? What are you going to get from Nolan Gorman moving forward? And then in the rotation, can Jack Flaherty be the guy that he was a couple of years ago? And more importantly, can he stay healthy? Once you start to get those questions answered, I think you have a better idea of what you want to do to this roster to tweak it. And I didn't even mention Jordan Walker, who is going to be just a spectacular Major League Baseball player, and he's going to be given every opportunity to win a job out of spring training. So the last thing you want to do is go spend some money on a left-handed middle-of-the-order bat, and then all of a sudden you get to spring, and Walker has this amazing spring, and it becomes really challenging to figure out the roster pieces. So I think they wait a little bit. I think they go into spring. I think they evaluate what's going on. Because they signed Wilson Contreras and didn't acquire Sean Murphy, they still all have all those trade pieces available that they would have maybe given up if they would have acquired a Murphy. And you're going to be able to use those pieces to maybe go get that big left-handed bat if some guys don't step forward, to go get another top-of-the-rotation starter to compete with some of these other teams in the National League. Because right now, I mean, I think you look at the Mets, you look at the Phillies, you look at the Dodgers, you look at the Padres, you look at the Braves, it feels like the Cardinals are still a half step behind those clubs. But if all those players that I just mentioned a moment ago, if they all kind of take a step forward, that could change things.
You know, we're speaking with Matt Pauley, with KMOX sports reporter. All of those teams you just met, they've all done things, big, headline grabbing things over the course of this offseason. You didn't name a single Central Division National League team there. And it seemed like they sold the farm, and the Cardinals are sitting here with a division to take. And what I always hear from people who are well-versed in the Cardinal sports world and people who are the casual, maybe they don't read all the headlines and they don't, dive into the sabermetrics of it. They're like, does this team just want to make the playoffs? I think that the St. Louis Cardinals fans want to win the World Series. Are you seeing that mentality? You made a lot of good points about why you maybe wouldn't want to dive headfirst into making a bunch of decisions that complicate your spring. But do you think that the mentality of the front office for the St. Louis Cardinals right now is win the World Series?
Yeah, I do. I also think it's continue to compete at a high level on an every year basis. You're not going to mortgage the future to go all in on 1 year, because you can go all in on 1 year and then it ends up not working out for you. I think the real answer to that question is going to come during the season. What does this roster look like as they go into August? And we can, recap this conversation come August if you want to, and we can evaluate what the Cardinals front office has done and whether or not they have made some changes. The division stinks. The division's not good. The Cubs have probably had as good of an offseason as anybody, bringing in Cody Bellinger, hoping for a bounce back from him, and then bringing in Dansby Swanson, a nice player for their middle infield. I actually think the Cubs are probably the second best team in the division now, not the Brewers. But either way, there is a scenario where the Cardinals win the division and nobody else gets maybe more than 75 wins. And Andy, the other thing to remember is, in the past, you've played all these games against divisional opponents. Well, because now you're playing every team, you're playing less games against your division. So when the East and the West are as stacked as they are at the top, there's more losses for some of these bad teams in the division.
Yeah, that is a fantastic point. Matt Pauley, real quick before we let you go, spring training, I Googled it, so tell me if I'm wrong here. It says Monday, February 13th, pitchers and catchers report. That's 1 week from tomorrow. Do you expect any action between now and then, or do you think once spring sets in, then the cogs in the wheels start to turn?
Yeah, look, if something presents itself to John Mozeliak and company, they'll do something, but I would think that the roster as is right now is basically going to be the roster they take to spring.
All right. Well, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us here on 97.1 and also on our live stream. It's always great to talk to you. All right. Matt Pauley, KMOX sports reporter, joining us live right now to talk about that news, that headline. Matt Holliday steps down, says he is going to resign his position as the bench coach for the St. Louis Cardinals, and he wants to spend some more time with his family. And so they've hired Joe McEwing. I remember seeing Joe McEwing playing at Old Bush, which is New Bush to some people. I don't know how many people.
I just remember how much he would move at the plate and readjust his straps.
Like Skip Schumacher-esque, fidgety.
Yeah, well, I think he did it before Skip Schumacher was there, wasn't he?
Yes, I'm just saying Skip Schumacher did the same thing.
Like every pitch, step out, readjust straps, do this. So he can get in there and he'd start wiggling around a whole bunch.
What do you read anything into the Matt Holliday saying?
No. Well, the phrase I want to
say no.
The phrase that I want to spend time with my family seems maybe he had a disagreement with his family about how much time he would be away, and he thought maybe it was okay, and then maybe it's not now.
Maybe it turned into not being okay.
Yeah.
It's tough. I mean, that would probably be something that he would really enjoy, but you can enjoy two things at the same time and know that one of those things should take precedent, and he chose his family. So good for him on that. If there's more information provided, we will bring it to you. But a little news headline for the St. Louis Cardinals, and very excited to report that Cardinals and pitchers and catchers Cardinals will report 1 month from tomorrow.
It's super exciting.
Been looking at flights, man. I keep looking. I'm like a free agent when it comes to wanting to travel somewhere other than here right now. And I'm about to go to the airport and just get on a plane that will actually fly off the airport.
Which one isn't canceled?
I'll go there. Where's that? Kansas City. Just jog instead. All right, let's take a quick break in the 2:00 hour. We'll get those results from today's YouTube live chat poll with Hannah at 2:45. But you need to get weighing in on it now. Does the Democrat Party want a Biden second term? Yes or no? Go vote. Annie Frey YouTube channel. Leave a comment. Maybe we'll feature yours at 2:45. Back in a minute.
Surprise! Surprise parties, they can be fun, right? Well, financial surprises, not so much, especially when you're retired, like finding out you owe more in taxes than you thought you would, or having to go back to work to make ends meet. Maybe you think you'll be okay, but why not double check just to be sure? Call Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions and schedule a retirement double check. Marvin and his team have been helping families plan for retirement for more than 15 years. Call 314-373-1598 to schedule your retirement double check with Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions. That's 314-373-1598. Don't let a financial surprise derail your retirement dreams. Give Marvin and the team a call, 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and in Illinois.
What if everything you got came with a little bit of money? Spicy chicken ramen with a side of quarters, a full tank of gas, and a $5 bill, an entire pantry's worth of groceries, and a pocket full of cash. Well, then you'd be living life on the upside. The first platform that gives you real cash back in real life wherever you roll. Restaurants, grocery stores, gas stations, all cashback opportunities. So order the expensive appetizer, buy a little extra at the store, fill your gas tank till the pump stops. Because with Upside, you can. Start earning cashback just for doing you. Download the free Upside app and use promo code SPICY for an extra $10 cashback on your first purchase of $10 or more. That's promo code SPICY. Promo code SPICY. SPICY for an extra $10 on the free Upside app. Start living life on the upside with the free Upside app.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Someone made a mistake. Lisa Brady, Fox News, a White House lawyer acknowledging that, using the word mistake in his latest statement about classified documents found at one of the president's Delaware homes and an office he used after serving as vice president. The new statement says they're confident a thorough review will show the documents were inadvertently misplaced. This after Attorney General Merrick Garland announced he's appointing a special counsel after an initial investigation by federal prosecutor John Lausch.
On January 5th, 2023, Mr. Lausch briefed me on the results of his initial investigation and advised me that further investigation by a special counsel was warranted.
Garland taps a Trump appointee, former U.S. Attorney Robert Hur, to be special counsel. In November, he named a special counsel to lead Trump-related investigations, including his handling of classified documents. It says today's appointment demonstrates the Justice Department's commitment to making decisions based only on the facts and the law. The Biden administration has not said why the initial document discovery made days before the midterm elections wasn't disclosed until this week.
The White House says ever since November, the president's personal lawyers have been searching some of his residences to see where these other additional documents may be, because they had discovered those documents at the Penn Biden Center here in D.C. So they wanted to see what else was out there. But of course, the White House is going to be facing an enormous amount of questions about what did they learn and when, and of course, why these documents were being stored at a private home to begin with.
Fox's Mark Meredith, the president today reiterating a pledge to fully cooperate. A newlywed under arrest in suburban Houston, accused of decapitating his wife with a kitchen knife in the home they were sharing with the man's family.
It is gruesome. It's a gruesome crime.
Waller County Sheriff Troy Guidry says the suspect's own father made the 911 call and he was arrested at the scene. America is listening to Fox News.
As a Walgreens pharmacist, I talk with people all the time about little tips and tricks for filling their Medicare prescriptions, like taking advantage of Walgreens 90-day refills to save them a trip, or using Refill by Scan, which is super easy and right on your phone. And for anybody worried about prescription costs, I say, hey, we got you, with low-cost copays on many medications.
Let's talk about making things easier. Walgreens is here. Fill your way and save at walgreens.com/Medicare. See pharmacists for restrictions and exclusions.
Make a New Year's resolution that's easy to keep. Help protect your identity and finances with LifeLock Identity Theft Protection. LifeLock detects identity threats you may miss on your own. And if you become a victim, LifeLock will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses. But LifeLock by Norton makes it easy to help protect yourself. Join now and save up to 25% off your first year. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
The northwest wind and slowly falling temperatures the rest of the day as clouds control. We should settle at about 35 degrees late this afternoon. It stays windy and it's quite cold overnight, 25. Cold compared to where we've been. Friday, clouds giving way to a little bit of afternoon sun, 35 degrees. Saturday, sunny and 45. Sunday, clouds and 53. More rain on Monday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Hey guys, Glover here from my friends at ThrottleNet. So I'm so
very proud to have represented the guys at ThrottleNet for all of these years. They are the IT geniuses. George and Mike are the owners. Fantastic guys. They can do all of your IT. They can do a portion of your IT. They have the best Apple support team. Their response time is under 2 minutes. Think about that, under 2 minutes. Something goes sideways with your IT, and they are solving your problem. And they're solving your problem within 2 minutes. Now, let's talk about cybersecurity. Most companies in St. Louis don't have cyber liability insurance. You get hit, you're on the hook, you're probably out of business. With ThrottleNet, if we represent you, we protect you. The first $500,000 that someone hits you for, which isn't going to happen, but if it does, we pay it. $500,000. That's what you're covered for with ThrottleNet. Go to throttlenet.com/DGS for all the information.
Hi, I'm Tom Connors. Went to Mark Patrick's hypnosis seminar February 6, 2019. Nothing worked before. Left there and never smoked again. Amazing. Easy, affordable, and guaranteed. A year later, with my wife Michelle, attended Mark Patrick's weight loss seminar. She lost 18 pounds and I lost 43 in 8 weeks.
It's true. He smoked 2 packs a day and nothing worked until Mark Patrick Hypnosis. Now we're losing weight together, eating healthy, full on half the food, crazy, enjoying exercising. Who would have believed Mark Patrick Hypnosis really works?
It's amazing. I can breathe again. My blood pressure went down and I've got so much energy.
So much energy.
And look great.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed for only $49.99. Hypnosis is designed to destroy unwanted cravings. That's right, seminars, Wednesday, February 1st at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites, St. Louis Airport in St. Louis, and Thursday, February 2nd at the 4 Points by Sheraton, St. Louis, Fairview Heights in Fairview Heights. Weight loss seminar, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar, 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminar.com.
The med spa at the Institute of Natural Health understands how difficult it is to maintain healthy skin and how much this can affect someone's life. With the right combination of treatments and products, they can help you keep your skin looking healthy and more youthful, while also reducing and preventing damage. Take your first step towards healthy skin at the med spa at the Institute of Natural Health. Visit them at inhstl.com or call to schedule at 314-293-8123. That's 314-293-8123.
You don't need special gadgets to be a hero. With unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase everywhere, the Capital One Quicksilver Card makes you the hero of every purchase. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
The only person who can change your life is you, but you need to know how. Listen to my show, The Del Walmsley Radio Show, where the hype ends and the help begins.
Listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show this Saturday afternoon from 1 to 2 p.m. on 97.1 FM Talk.
You're listening to award-winning, thought-provoking talk. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
Your home for conservative talk.
On the air for over 20 years.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not a married sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not married sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Well, now that the system is up and running, our primary focus is to determine that root cause. And I've directed FAA to figure out exactly how this happened, the timeline piece by piece about what was known overnight going into last night and then coming out of it. And most importantly, as you might imagine, a critical system like this has a lot of redundancy built into it with backups. So we need to understand why, with all of that redundancy, it still rose to the level that there had to be a ground stop lasting about an hour and a half and the kind of delays that we saw.
It appears as though Pete Buttigieg wants to clarify that we do have a problem with our air system.
Thank you. Thank you.
He's like, guys, I want to take this time to tell you that there is some disruption with the planes. Thank you. And then he walks away. It's like, Pete, answers, please. It's not good. Let's hear the conversation with CNN.
Any indication that there was a cyber attack involved?
There's been no direct evidence or indication of that, but we are also not going to rule that out until we have a clearer and better understanding of what's taking place. But again, no indication of that at this time.
So we don't know.
That's both answers.
Yeah. He covered all the bases, except for the one that's like, here's the problem, and this is how we're fixing it.
There's a lot of vocabulary in there, which I appreciate. It sounds like he's doing his homework and reading and learning the terms.
They're like Mr. Buttigieg, was there a hack? Well, no, but maybe.
Yeah,
but no,
but
probably.
No, but probably. I don't. Could
All
be.
indications are that there's been quite a bit of redundancy, and therefore, no.
I
But
brought
it's
this
possible.
up with Tyrus earlier on the show. If you didn't hear that conversation, it happened about 105 Central Time. You can rewind on the Odyssey app or watch us on the YouTube channel, the Frey YouTube channel. I feel like we're going to see more things crumbling apart while all of the talking heads, the media people, I'll include myself in that category, spend day after day after day slap fighting between the red shirts and the blue shirts over the politics and who's going to be president in 2024. Meanwhile, we don't have planes that are flying. Problematic. Meanwhile, supply chain issues. Meanwhile, border surge issues and humanitarian crisis issues taking place on the southern border. There's a lot of real things that really that's like the purpose of government is to be a steward of the American tax dollar for the purposes of publicly shared things, like infrastructure is certainly one of those. And our defense, our national defense, we certainly don't agree on that either. But we sit here and we slap fight over this, that, and the other thing. And we do it on this show too, from time to time. I mean, we're an entertainment show, and some of this stuff can be incredibly entertaining. Meanwhile, the people who are supposed to be getting the business done for the American people aren't getting it done. And they don't have answers. But as long as they look and present themselves in a really upstanding, be it potentially presidential kind of way, we're kind of like, okay, all right. He sounds like he's got his hands firmly on the problem. I don't think he even knows where the problem is. At least it doesn't seem like it yet. And if he did know, why wouldn't you be knocking down everything in your way to get to a camera and a microphone to say how you're going to fix this problem? I mean, if Pete Buttigieg wants to run for president one day, go for it. Run for president. Great country. But this would be a really big time to shine, where there are catastrophic failures in our systems, in our operations that preceded Pete Buttigieg. Pete Buttigieg didn't go in and like ground the planes himself, but was he around to solve the problem when the problem reared its ugly head? It sounds as though he wasn't. And it sounds as though we're still this far away from this most recent failure. And there's not a solution, even if it's a long-term solution. Like, I'm not suggesting that somebody flipped a switch and they got to find the switch to flip it back the way it was before. The solution, I mean, you need to have somebody, especially when it comes to transportation. How much energy is consumed in transportation? How much money is in both the green energy sector and coinciding that same group of people, the politically interested in green energy people? The money pool is deep. So if you're going to have somebody come into the transportation sector and save all of these different types of issues that are rearing their ugly heads when it comes to shipping and, pipelines and trying to figure out how we are going to make sure that air traffic is maintained, if not improved. If it isn't improved in a green way, it's as if the problem doesn't exist. And if they ignore the problem, of course, the problem's going to get worse. And then eventually, how I see this coming to its natural conclusion in this current climate, no pun intended, is that the problem is going to be the energy source at the end of the day. And, this system is so archaic and broken down, it doesn't function. We need a whole new one. And guess how that's going to be, what that's going to be grounded in? Again, no pun intended. It's all about the money. That's the way I see it.
It looks like pretend competency at basically every level. And this is iceberg stuff. We're seeing the tip of the iceberg. This has got to be filtered throughout the entire administration, and probably not just this one. This has been going on for years, where you have somebody who doesn't really know what they're doing, but they got good connections, so they They got a great position. And then they hire about 1,500 people who aren't necessarily there to do that job, but they need that many people to cover for how bad they are at that job. And the government just grows and grows and grows and grows. And then here we are. We don't have any planes flying for a day.
I think it's scary. Because if you have that much power to be able to fix things and you use that power to ignore things, and if there is a political advantage to be gained from doing that, then the American people don't even matter.
No, actually, and I think you guys are both all over this. What matters is like that the deal that I made to become president, I complete my end of that bargain so that the other person who stepped out of the way so that I could become president got some sort of thing. And whenever you run a business like that, if you run a business like that, you're not going to be in business for very long. You need competency. Well, why don't the American people deserve competency at these offices? Like the Secretary of Transportation is supposed to be good at it. You know, you need that to keep the country rolling. And when we look and we've got all these different things that happen, and it seems like he's always gone when it happens. So he steps out and then it's like, oh no, everything came off. And it's like, where's Mayor Pete? Nobody knows. And then all of a sudden he's back and he's like, well, stuff's broken, yo. And we're looking at why, and we're trying to fix it. And that's like all you get. We need competency in these offices. The idea would be that you would have somebody that would be able to recognize these things and take care of these problems before they rear their ugly head. You don't need to wait until it's broken to realize it's going to break.
I remember this now. The Secretary of Transportation, I do know who she was previously. This is Mitch McConnell's wife.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Well, we didn't know her name, so I guess she did an okay job.
As I said previously multiple times, these problems in our air system didn't just show up when Pete Buttigieg, he didn't implement anything.
Right. But he has had a couple years to assess problems and hasn't really done
those
anything.
problems were problems before then. When Elaine Chao was in,
Elaine Chao, yes.
When she was in, she didn't
That's her
identify and fix the problems, because whenever we had the Mr. Griffith on to talk about it, he was talking about how some of this technology is like 65 years old.
Yeah, it's decades old.
Yes, yeah. Well, I knew
it was Nixon's fault.
It's just another example of, sweetheart position. Oh, you're Mitch McConnell's wife. Well, let's appoint you because you're Mitch McConnell's wife. Not that you know what you're doing.
So, it does matter what her history was and why she got that role. The Secretary of Transportation is responsible for overseeing the formulation of national transportation policy and promotes intermodal transportation. Other responsibilities range from negotiation and implementation of international transportation agreements, assuring the fitness of U.S. airlines, enforcing airline consumer protection regulations, issuance of regulations to prevent alcohol and illegal drug misuse in transportation systems, and preparing transportation legislation. Donald Trump chose Chao for Secretary of Transportation. Chao previously served President George W. Bush as the Secretary of Labor. So she did have previous experience that would lend her to serving in a capacity such as that. Chao announced that she would be resigning as Secretary of Transportation on January 7th, 2021. She was one of the ones that stepped down after the January 6th situation. In a statement, Chao said yesterday, our country experienced a traumatic and entirely avoidable event. Supporters of the president stormed the Capitol building following a rally he addressed. As I'm sure that is the case with many of you, it was deeply troubling to me in a way that I simply cannot set aside. That was a statement that was made on January 7th. It is worth mentioning that his speech was still going on when that storming took place. It wasn't following. I mean, it did follow, but it also, I guess it would be at the same time, not preceded. So she's from Taipei, Taiwan as well, has a bachelor's degree and an MBA. Before becoming the deputy maritime administrator in the U.S. Department of Transportation in the 80s. So she worked in the Department of Transportation. So it's not apples to apples to say that Chao was inexperienced and in a nepotistic kind of way, been like, oh, give her the Secretary of Transportation and thrown her away. She did have a little bit of expertise in that department.
Apparently all you have to do though is be the mayor of a moderately sized town to get that position.
Well, now that's what they're saying.
Yeah. because that's all the background you need.
I think there are a few other boxes you have to check, though.
You have to run for president and then drop out and endorse the eventual president. That's another one.
Let's take a quick break. I want to come back at the 2:45 segment with Hannah, and we're going to talk about today's YouTube live chat poll. Does the Democrat Party want a Biden second term? This is interesting to think about. It's been suggested on the air here today. It's been suggested online here today. When you are watching as these documents are being released right now, and it's not looking too good for Joe Biden, is he going to be indicted and put in jail? No, stop it. At least not for this particular instance. There could be others. I doubt it. What is this all about? And is this tit for tat? Is this something that they couldn't hold back any longer and it needed to come out? What is the deal? Do you think that the Democratic Party still wants Biden to have a second term? Yes or no? Go to the Annie Frey YouTube channel, leave your vote, leave a comment, and Hannah will pick her favorites and read them at 2:45. Back in a minute.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Would it be so bad as if they turn around and you come so well?
Congress has authorized trillions in new spending, along with doubling the size of the IRS agency in just the last few months. Do you think that is by accident? No, it is with a purpose, to go after small businesses, employees, and individuals who have not filed or paid their taxes. If this is you, don't panic, just call. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm in St. Louis. Interest and penalties on your tax bill won't stop until you take control. Call me, Lance Drury. I'll tell you in advance an affordable fee, which includes costs and expenses that works for your business and family. Your first visit to the Lance Drury Law Firm is free and confidential, so you have nothing to lose. Call me today. Remember, if you have IRS issues, you have legal issues. You need an attorney. You need us, the Lance Drury Law Firm. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120. Or go to Lance, DRURY law.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
There's a lot to be done, and we're opening the door this year to you to get involved in things that matter. Conservatives Care is a new 97-1 monthly action plan to change your neighborhoods and our nation, one project at a time. In January, we're inviting you to join us in the Missouri USO in serving our troops. Volunteer at Lambert Airport to serve soldiers in transit, or in special event opportunities by visiting missouri.uso.org. Conservatives Care, a new initiative from 97.1.
Man, what a great party you're throwing here. This wasp nest is great.
Yeah, man, we got about 70 wasps in here. It's one in, one out.
Too bad we can't fit any more wasps in here. It looks like they're having fun outside, stinging all the kids. Oh, man, who just pulled up?
Oh, no, it's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They seem to kill every one of my parties.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. We'd love to help you out, so please visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
The Closet Factory can solve so many problems for you in your home, in your office, in your place of business, in your church. What they do is customized organization. That means whatever the issues that are facing you right now where you have clutter, or if you feel like, gosh, I just don't really feel like we have enough space in our home, you need more room for your stuff, or maybe you've gotten to the point where you're outgrowing it, but you don't want to pick up and move. Consider what the Closet Factory can do for you. They maximize your space, and they give you beautifully finished organizational solutions that are customized exactly to your unique needs. They've done that for my house. They've done that in my master closet. We used to have that wire shelving. It's pretty standard issue. It was fine for us for a while, but my husband and I share this closet, and they were able to come in and customize the whole space, take the storage and the shelving all the way to the ceiling. And now we actually have more space than we even use at this point, because I did a lot of purging. Reach out to the Closet Factory for your closets, for your pantry, for your garage. You can make it have just a beautiful organization that's super functional for your tools, for your yard stuff, for the kids' toys, everything. If you want to learn more about the Closet Factory and how they've helped my family and how they can help yours, go to closetfactory.com.
For every season and every day, We've got you covered with air comfort service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather, and Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray on 97.1 FM Talk, your home for conservative talk. You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
This is crazy. This is something my husband and I just experienced. I guess it was yesterday or the day before. How late do you expect your bank to be open?
If 6 o'clock would be great. I would say 6.
5.
So one of the places where we just have our a separate savings account purposely at a different bank so we can't just easily move money out of it.
I know exactly what you mean.
Like we have we have money in multiple places. And this is where we have our like emergency savings account. We needed to get some money and we needed to move some money. Their new hours, I'm not going to say who it is, but their new hours, Monday through Thursday, 9 to 4.
Monday through Thursday?
What's a working person supposed to do?
That's what they say, banker's hours, right?
Well, good
9 to
grief. They're
4?
better than teachers' hours.
Man, 9 to 4. That's not even splitting shifts. That's just your one crew coming in.
Is that
for
even 8 hours?
The drive up is 8:30 to 4:30. But you can't go. The lobby is 9 to 4, Monday through Thursday. Friday, the lobby hours are 9 to 5. And the drive up hours are 8:30 to 5. So they're going home at 5 Friday.
Wow.
And they're closed on Saturday.
Wow.
I know.
That's rough.
Sounds like you need a new bank.
Prediction.
Why is that I didn't want to mention them?
This is going to be what banking becomes because they assume everybody's doing online banking now.
Everybody is doing online banking, except for the purpose that I have that money separate from my other money, so I can't just online banking it over to fun money.
I know. I'm still a very old-fashioned banker. I walk into the lobby and with my little top hat on, and I say, I need to get a check for $14.
Yeah, I don't do that. Scooter says most banking can be done online now. Yes, and I do all on. I don't balance a checkbook. I don't do any of that stuff. I check my bank account like a million times a day, and in constant communication with my husband because we have everything is joint. But when you need to if you're going to pay a big bill or you're going to make a big purchase and you're like, okay, I want to go into the savings account where I have set aside money for this. I got to take a day off, Steve. Sorry, I got to go to the bank.
No, I hear you. Is there a place for having separate accounts anymore? I mean, can you do that in a marriage?
I think that's 100% up to the marriage. I don't think that you can blanket advocate for joint accounts for everybody.
Yeah. I can't imagine doing it. I'm trying to put myself in that position. And I can't imagine her having her check go into her account.
It's because you give her an allowance.
Exactly. That's right. I manage the money.
Ryan's like, that's going to make that a lot more difficult.
Speaking of the 1950s.
Yeah. Exactly.
Do you guys have a joint account?
Yes.
Does she have any separate accounts that you know of?
Not that I know of.
In It's a Wonderful Life, at the end of the film, one of the best lines of the whole movie when everybody's coming into the Bailey house and they're putting their money on the table because it's help George Bailey. The black woman who is the whatever she is, the maid for Ma Bailey. She is there when George Bailey's dad is still alive, right before they go to the dance. George Bailey sitting there with his dad and they're having a heart-to-heart conversation. And the maid is walking around the table. Her name is Annie.
Oh.
Yeah. And at the end of the movie, when everybody's putting their money on the table because they love George Bailey, she walks in and she takes out this big jar of money and she's dumping out. She goes, I've been saving this money for a divorce if ever I get a husband. And I love that line. I love Annie. I love everything about her. She's got a handful of lines in that movie and they're all fantastic. But no, I mean, if you don't want to have, if you would not trust your significant other with their own account, I would question why you wouldn't trust them with it. If someone was like, I will absolutely not share my money with you, I would question that as well. But if you're married to somebody who is not capable of managing money, who is proven, like maybe you come together and you know that this person has had trouble with money before, I could see why you would want to have, I don't know, why you could maybe want to have separate. I don't know why you would ever have separate accounts where somebody isn't like allowed to have any of it.
Man, I know some people that they didn't have separate accounts, they had joint accounts, but it wasn't that the one wasn't untrustworthy, it was that the other one was so overbearing that like
they were managing every
they were
cent.
like if me and this person went out to McDonald's and they got something off the dollar menu, he got a phone call.
Oh, wow.
Like, what are you spending that on?
Wow.
Yeah.
Could they afford it?
Yes.
I was gonna say, because if you can't afford it and the person's spending money at McDonald's and they shouldn't be because you can't afford it.
Well, yeah, I think, and that's the question too, though, that the person that was calling maybe was so insecure with funds and that sort of thing that they didn't think that they could afford it. Because what if something down the road happens?
Which is really where communication comes into play. I do essentially all of the money things for our family. And if Jared is doing something that has to do with money, it's because I've asked him, will you please take this money and pay this bill? Or will you please move this money over to here? And I'll tell him, we'll have conversations, but he's not asking. He doesn't want to be involved in it. So in our family, like, sorry, Jared, if I kick the can, is it kick the can? Is that a phrase? And it's kick the bucket.
You kick the bucket is die. If you're saying
that's
die.
what I mean.
Kick the can is a game.
I know that too.
Okay.
But it's kick the can is not anything other than a game.
It's delaying something. You kick the can down the road.
No, I mean die.
Okay.
Bite the dust.
If I die, he's going to have to take a minute to sit down and go, what's the situation here? And
same.
Yeah, me too.
No, Brad,
I don't do the money.
You're in Brad's boat.
Oh.
Or Jared's boat. Brad and Jared.
Yeah,
are
if
in
something
the boat.
happens to my wife, I'm probably just gonna follow her to wherever she went because I have no idea how she does it.
Like heaven, you mean?
Yes. Like it'd just be easier to put this in an inheritance and give it to somebody else, and I'll just die.
Wow. Okay. Romeo and Juliet. I just stepped into the 21st century. I just 2 months ago started actually online banking. And my gosh, why didn't I do this earlier? It's so much easier. But there's something to be said for cash. Cash is good, right?
That's not a mutually exclusive situation.
But I'm picturing nowadays the scene at the end of It's a Wonderful Life. Everybody's coming in, they're dumping out their piggy banks. Now it would just be
their divorce fund,
EFT transfers into his account, and it wouldn't look good.
Well, that was the whole
we're both
problem.
talking about we're both talking about electronic banking, but we've never said that we don't have cash.
Well, I'm just picturing It's a Wonderful Life. That's all.
You said 2 months ago you started electronic banking. Did you have all of your money in your house before that?
No, it was in the bank. But
Oh, that's so different.
I would go to the bank and I would write checks, and I would really use the old paper system for everything.
He's just in a mattress in the back room. He just stuffed it all in there.
Yeah, that's the fake mattress. You got to go to the real.
But wasn't the
mattress.
issue with It's a Wonderful Life that they needed to get the cash out because there was a run on it, and he had to get into his own personal cash reserves to make
No.
sure that the building and loan
No.
could meet it?
No, the uncle misplaced $8,000.
Oh, okay.
It's a big difference. The uncle who is forgetful, and in the movie, like ties strings around his fingers to remember like the most basic things, is going to make a deposit at the bank of $8,000 that the savings and loan has, and he folds it into a newspaper, and then he sees Mr. Potter, and he wants to like pop off on Mr. Potter for a second. He smacks him in the chest with the paper after he's done with him, and the $8,000 is in there. Mr. Potter keeps the $8,000 and watches everything melt down. But then at the end, of course, George Bailey is richer as both in wealth and in love because the whole town comes around to meet him. He had to worry about killing himself first, though, in order to get to there.
Kind of like Brad's version. I like the version of George Bailey dealing with an international monetary crisis. And he keeps all of his money in the Cayman Islands, but he can't get it right now.
It's a really crappy movie.
Well, maybe that's why it hasn't been made, Annie.
I mean, you're a writer.
Aren't you working on a movie?
It's a Wonderful Life wasn't a good movie when it
it's
was
a Wonderful Life too.
It wasn't like a staple in holiday movies until
You're
it made it for TV, and it made it for TV because I think the copyright on it lapsed.
Yes, I think you're right. It's a wonderful story of copyright infringement. I'll write that movie too. That's going to be in my movie too.
get a credit card, Annie? I have credit cards too. Why? I didn't do like in order to speak about my economic situation here. Let me tell you everything about my finances.
Hold on. Let me.
What's
grab
the
my pen and
3-digit
paper
pin
here.
on the back?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Amazing.
Go to my luggage.
What kind of idiot has that code in there? I love Spaceballs. Yeah, I was gonna talk about Tucker Carlson and Alex Jones, but I'm not really feeling it right now. Maybe I'll still do it. Did you see that they had the Huffington Post reported on? Remember when Alex Jones was on the stand, and the guy was because he owes people a lot of money for his nonsense with the Sandy Hook people, and the lawyer, the prosecutor, says to him, he goes, "Do you know?" Says this to Alex Jones, that your lawyer sent me the entire contents of your cell phone, and I have all of it. And there's a bit that's a great gif on Twitter right now. At the moment, Alex Jones is like, "What?" Well, it includes his text messages, and there are text messages that the Huffington Post has to report on between Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson. And I know what the Huffington Post is trying to do here. This is the headline: exclusive. Alex Jones phone dump reveals text combos with Tucker Carlson. So then I read this article, and this article is so long that I didn't read the whole thing. And I was literally thinking to myself, there's no way that they put the most interesting thing in paragraph 73, right? Like, I don't have to read this whole thing to get to the real meat of it. It's really funny to take it in and read these texts because it's always Alex Jones texting Tucker and Tucker eventually providing one-word responses like, hilarious, tremendous. You don't say. And I'm like, this is not the dunk on Tucker that you think it is. Unless you think that it's a dunk just to suggest that Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson would have each other's phone numbers. I bet you Tucker Carlson has a lot of phone numbers of people all over the political spectrum. And if I were Tucker Carlson and I were a reporter or an opinionator or a writer or an author or the owner of a publication, like he used to own the Daily Caller, I would want to have every contact at my fingertips that I was available to have. Mm-hmm. In fact, I will tell you in my phone right now, I have a lot of contacts that people would go, really? Why them? Because I want to have the access. Of course I do. It doesn't mean that you're like, oh, this is what you need to say on your next show. Because it's kind of what Alex Jones was trying to say to Tucker Carlson. And he's like, tremendous. Over and over and over again. And like at one point, there's a conversation exchange. Alex Jones is mad that the Daily Caller won't publish some of the InfoWars stories or something that Alex Jones wanted to have on the Daily Caller. And Tucker Carlson's response is essentially like, man, that really sucks. It's not like, you got to be kidding me. I'll fix this right now. So over and over and over again, Tucker Carlson, and it even indicates in this Huffington Post article, it indicates that like Alex Jones texts and then eventually Tucker Carlson replies. And it just doesn't seem to be like the gotcha moment that I think that the Huffington Post was looking for. And I would be very curious to see if Tucker Carlson talks about it tonight. He did not reply to their request for comment.
Or he might in one word eventually. Dang, bro.
That's two.
That's two, Joe Biden. Made in America. Was that his 2 words?
Yeah.
I can't remember. I got 2 words for you. Really? I'm trying so hard to just rise above and you're making it so hard. Gosh. So anyway, if that's now out there in the world. Oh yeah. Like, and also the thing is Tucker uses the F word a lot. And I've seen interviews of him that are like online based. And he's not afraid of that. And in some weird way, I almost feel like he needs to get that off his chest. The way he covers things, he's always on the edge.
You watch him the Tucker Carlson stare when he asks a question. You can almost read him saying the F word in his brain when he's listening to some of these answers that people give.
Yeah. Well, if there is a there, I'm sure it will be covered ad nauseum as the special counsel has been appointed to investigate Joe Biden and his classified documents that were locked in a garage next to the Corvette. They were locked. They weren't on the street, guys. It's no big deal. definitely going to need to mix it up in the news cycle and get some news stories. And maybe it'll be the Tucker Carlson, Alex Jones connection, which I have a feeling will change absolutely nobody's feelings about both Tucker Carlson and Alex Jones and the Huffington Post altogether. Let's get the votes of the YouTube live chat poll when we come back. Does the Democrat Party want a Biden second term? Yes or no? You go to the Annie Frey YouTube channel, vote, leave a comment. Hannah coming in to give us your thoughts and the results in a minute.
Supernatural woman, supernatural free.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
So the Diamond Shop, they're in Clayton. They've been in the St. Louis area since 1910 in Clayton. A beautiful store for you to go in and peruse. They have gorgeous things, but they are more than just a jewelry store. First of all, you are going to see a wide selection of engagement and wedding rings, fine jewelry, and watches with the very best selection with great, extraordinary quality. You're going to be able to work with them on affordable pricing as well. I think one of the best parts about going to the Diamond Shop and making a purchase there, I have purchased things that are in the store there, but I've also had a conversation with them that's something that they didn't have necessarily like out there on display that I was looking for my husband. And the conversation is so simple. They're so accommodating, and they ask you what your budget is, and they work to stay within that. They have special financing available that is 6 months, same as cash. So if you're looking to make a purchase and you know that it's down the road a little bit, reach out to the Diamond Shop, go visit them, tell them the Annie Frey Show sent you, and start the conversation today so that you can plan financially accordingly. If you visit their website, you can become a VIP. You'll be able to see their great special discounts on merchandise that they have. It's all online at thediamondshop.net.
I stopped smoking with Mark Patrick's hypnosis when nothing else worked. 1 year later, my wife Michelle and I attended the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis seminar. In 2 months, lost 43 pounds, and she lost 18 pounds. And we feel great.
Seminars, Wednesday, February 1st at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites, St. Louis Airport in St. Louis. And Thursday, February 2nd at the 4 Points by Sheraton, St. Louis, Fairview Heights, in Fairview Heights. Weight loss seminar, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar, 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminar.com.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing. Together, millions of things for our planet. Resolve to recycle more. Recycle paper, bottles, and cans directly, and recycle old clothes by donating them. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service offers insulation services. Did you know 9 out of 10 homes are under-insulated? Increase your energy savings and comfort with better insulation. For details, visit aircomfortservice.com.
St. Louis is home for conservative talk.
The Mark Reardon Show.
The rebels in the House wanted to vote on term limits, and they're going to get it. We'll talk term limits with the chair of U.S. term limits Thursday afternoon.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 97.1 FM Talk. You're listening to the Annie Frey Show.
It's about time that we set it off. Here we go, here we go. Red lights, I could never stop. A dreamer with the fever to be great was all I ever want, was all I ever wanted. A
Bad. The EPA has found that natural gas stoves emit air pollutants such as nitrogen dioxide and carbon monoxide and are linked to respiratory illness, cardiovascular problems, and other health conditions. Okay, that's not great, but counterpoint, gas stoves are also linked to delicious pan-seared scallops. Little butter bath. So come on, baby. Come on. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. As a result, the government is now considering banning gas stoves. You. I will see you in hell. You can have my gas range when you pry it from my hot, sizzling hams.
Man, I'm almost like for banning gas stoves if I never have to hear Stephen Colbert talk like that again. That's not right. The gas stove thing seems to really have gotten a lot of traction. Is anything gonna happen?
I think they backed off of it, didn't they?
In New York, that you can't have gas stoves.
Yeah, that's true. All new construction, right?
And that's what it was always proposed. It was like the future of stoves was not in gas. And there's going to be a run on Home Depot for gas stoves. I mean, I would want to get one.
Do you have a gas stove?
No, we used to in our old house. The new house, I understand that people want to like have matching appliances and have like the nicest things and everything, but I am not going to buy new appliances to look at them. I don't have that kind of money. Certainly didn't have that kind of money when we moved into our new house. So the stove that was there worked and it was electric, but we've had the conversations with Air Comfort Service to come out and run a gas line because we like have mapped it all out. When that sucker goes out, we're putting in a gas stove. I'm just wondering if I have to buy the stove and put it in the garage right now. if I'm not going to have access to it, just like the ARs in Illinois.
You can always buy one in Missouri.
Can you like register it with the state then? And then
register
you can
your gas stove?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I'm here for the gas stove registry.
Isn't this like the toilet thing? Like everybody wants old toilets because
the flush.
Because the flush.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because the new ones, they only allow you to have a tiny bit of water in them.
Yeah. There was a time when there was like, you'd flush the toilet and run for 20 minutes and just, and everything was gone. And then they did reduced flow toilets and now they're just all reduced flow.
Yeah. Everybody wants an old toilet, Hannah.
The things you learn on the Annie Fry show.
This is before your time.
This is toilet history predating Hannah that she needed to know right now. That's interesting. You want to talk about the YouTube live chat poll?
Yes. Today's YouTube live chat poll is asking, does the Democrat Party want a Biden second term? Yes or no? Ryan, what do you think?
Right now, I would say yes, that they do. And I believe that that's because the powers that be still are enjoying his presence there because they can do whatever they want. So I'm going to say yes.
I think that they want a second term, but they don't want a Biden second term because they don't think that they can get a Biden second term. They're done with him. And that's why you see this stuff drip, drip, drip coming out now. So this stuff never did. And now we got what was it? Yeah. We've got like the late night comedians have turned on him. They're making fun of him now. 3 comedians in one night making fun of Biden for his stuff. That never happened before. It just never did. And there was also one from Fallon that wasn't funny that I didn't pull, but he was still making fun of Biden.
I think that Biden is so bad that even his own party has to turn against him and can't support him for a second term. I voted no on the poll. Annie, have you shared your thoughts?
I don't think that they want a second Biden term. I don't think they wanted a first Biden term. I think it was the only way they thought they could beat Trump. And I think that this all revolves around whether or not Trump is the guy. I think that the Democrats think that anybody can beat Trump. I think that the Democrats think Biden can beat Trump, but that Trump could potentially beat other people. And I think that more importantly, that Biden can only beat Trump. And if Trump is not the nominee, Biden will not be in favor of beating whoever actually ends up being the Republican nominee. So I think that there's a lot of breath holding taking place in the Democrat Party right now to see what the Republicans do. But you can't do that forever. There are going to be Democrats who have aspirations to become the president of the United States. They should not have to wait for the whims of the Democrat Party to determine whether or not they run. Neither should Republicans have to wait for the GOP to say, yes, we bless your adventure to the White House. It should be up to the American people. But I don't think that the Democrat Party wants to do this. I think that they believe that they're persuading people in their policies. And I think that they could more effectively do that if the guy in the Oval Office knew he was in the Oval Office. And I don't think Biden's that guy. So I'd vote no.
We have a lot of comments coming in from our YouTube channel. Sherry Scissorhands said, I said yes at first. I said yes at first, but he's the perfect puppet for the people running the show, so why not keep him? Lori from YouTube said, I believe some do, but many don't. They know what Biden has been like with how he does his speeches, forgetting things, and claim that they find out later to not be true. Kenneth from YouTube said, there's no way the DNC backs Biden, but it will be interesting on how they handle this. Our friend Scooter says that he voted yes on the poll. Biden accomplished a lot legislatively: infrastructure, chips, inflation reduction, electoral count reform, Safe Communities Act, budget, respect for marriage, bipartisan too. So Scooter thinks that the Democrat Party will want a second term for Joe Biden.
He's right in that the Democrats have accomplished a lot under Joe Biden. It's, to me, strangely in spite of Joe Biden. And if you want to make the case that it's because of Joe Biden, it's because he's hands off, which is weird for a president.
Scott Lane from YouTube said, Democrats can't run Biden again. GOP House will uncover too much baggage once they get into their investigations. Unfortunately, nothing more will happen. No major indictments, just a new Democrat candidate. Joe from YouTube said, I voted yes on the poll, but I don't know. I have no idea what the Democrats are thinking. Sid from YouTube said, I don't think the majority of Americans want Biden or Trump to run again in 2024. What do you think about that comment, Annie?
What's that?
That majority of Americans
don't want either. Don't
want Trump or Biden.
No, I don't think that they do. And I think that the power and the platform that they both have right now means you need that much more money, and you need to convince that many more people. Each party is going to have to determine, and I'll say party as in the voters of the party, not the institution that is the party, are going to have to decide if they're willing to go through the consternation of a difficult primary to get a better candidate. Both parties will have to do that. And there are repercussions if you don't do it the right way. I think the Republican Party comes out better if they do. I think the Democratic Party comes out better if they do. And I think the country comes out better if they both do.
You know, we kept hearing right around New Year's that Biden was going to announce soon whether he was going to run again or not. And that's not happened, right? That we have not had any announcement. No. He hasn't gone anywhere and said anything. So that's an interesting tidbit to me, because we're here on the 12th of January. By now, that announcement should have taken place.
Right. They were supposed to come back from St. Croix and talk about it. That's kind of like what was implied. And
it was like the House Speaker event happened, and I thought they were pushing it off because they thought they would be overshadowed by that. But we're long past that. We still don't have anything.
Michael from YouTube said, if Trump runs, the Democrats will have to put Biden up. If someone like DeSantis runs, Biden is out, and I doubt anyone can beat him regardless. That is an interesting comment. Once again, the YouTube poll is asking, does the Democrat Party want Biden a second term? Yes or no? We still have more comments coming in. Rob P. said, I voted yes because Biden is a puppet and will do what the swamp wants him to do. They will protect him and promote him. Dirk said, I voted no on the poll, but it is possibly a yes if there was a different vice president candidate with President Biden in the ticket.
Listen to President Biden talking about the Republicans.
Plus, House Republicans have introduced another bill, blocking action that would help lower gas prices and help consumers. And on top of that, House Republicans are preparing to vote on a national sales tax bill. National sales tax. That's a great idea. It would raise taxes on the middle class by taxing thousands of everyday items from groceries to gas, while cutting taxes for the wealthiest Americans. And if I'm not mistaken, what they've introduced, it also would totally eliminate the IRS. Feels good, except all going to be sales tax. Go home and tell your moms. They're going to be really excited about that. Come on. Is this how House Republicans are starting a new term? Cutting taxes for billionaires, raising taxes for working families, making inflation worse?
What are you going to do?
Well, let me be very clear.
Be clear.
If any of these bills make it to my desk,
louder for the people in the back.
I will veto them.
Oh.
I will flat veto them.
Oh, you knew that
Joe,
was coming.
Joe. Why are we whispering?
Go home and tell your moms.
Is
that the clip we were talking about earlier, Brad?
It's
I'm
the
glad I didn't have my
creepiest thing-
headphones.
It's the creepiest thing he does. It's so bizarre. And you know what? It is good, though, to hear that Joe Biden understands that when the price of gas and groceries goes up, people don't like it. Somebody go whisper to him.
Ask your mom.
The prices are up.
Go tell your moms. They're not paying attention. You gotta go tell your moms. I don't know what he pulls these phrases out.
It's sexist.
I don't know what he's even talking
Of
about.
course you do. He's suggesting that who goes to the grocery store?
Oh, that you're right. That is what he's suggesting. That your mom's going to the grocery store.
If
the
Trump
wife's
did that,
going.
he would get raked over the coals for being sexist.
Heck yes.
Maybe he should.
Wow. Well, that's not in my family. I go to the grocery store in my family. We can talk about that later, though.
Do we have to?
I don't know if we want to get into the whole Wiggins family dynamics right now, but I love going to the grocery store, and I'm not ashamed to admit it.
That's very clear.
I'm a 2023 guy. That's the way it is. He's talking about
What is a
old-fashioned-
2023 guy?
He just goes to the grocery store whenever he wants.
How do you know?
Because I am him. I am the embodiment of the 2023
Yeah,
man.
can you define
Man?
guy for us?
No, I can't define man for you. I'm not a biologist. But I can tell you that I am one.
What's it?
And I go to the store all hours of the day. Back when it was 24-hour grocery stores, you'd see me there.
Where
whenever.
the heck is that? Why is
What?
that not
Yeah,
back? Why
that
can't
is
you go anywhere
crazy.
at 2 a.m. anymore,
Thank
like a
you.
respectable human being,
Thank you.
and buy toilet paper if you need it?
I need garbanzo beans right now.
Nobody needs garbanzo beans at 2 a.m.
Ever.
But you might need to go grocery shopping at 11 o'clock at night.
Yes.
We do all the time. That's the only time that we have time to go to the grocery store. So you go and you shop and you hustle, and those Walmart employees, if you're like buying like home goods and stuff, man, they are quick to get you out of the store.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be 24 hours, and it's right down from our house. So if we need something, it's there. Walgreens is open a little bit longer, quick and easy. Because in a lot of cases, we'll just be going to pick up something for the kid lunch tomorrow, or the kid needs this for school tomorrow or whatever.
The poster board.
If you can't get it after 11 o'clock, sometimes that means you got to get up and get it at 6 a.m. That sucks too. I've heard.
And
Jared
there's
does
no
it, I don't.
and there's no reason because it's so much nicer to shop. There's nobody in the store. It's wonderful.
Well, that nobody wants to work. That's a big.
They only
reason.
need one. You mean you check yourself out at this point? You go in there by yourself. Don't even need to have an employee in the store.
I'd be okay with that.
All
They
right.
don't stop anybody from stealing anyway.
Yeah,
That's
what are you
it.
gonna do?
Amazon did that. Amazon has stores like that. Isn't it with Whole Foods?
Yes.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
All right. The final results of the YouTube poll, which is asking, does the Democrat Party want a Biden second term? Yes or no. 79% of the people said no.
Nope.
21% of the people said yes.
Man. Yeah, I just don't see it happening. But at the same time, he beat Trump. And if somebody else out there is if Donald Trump runs, I think that there are Democrats who will want to challenge him. But if Trump gets out of the whole picture, then I don't think they want Joe Biden running against somebody half his age, literally half his age.
Yeah. Interested to see what happens over the news cycle in the next couple weeks, because what you guys are saying is what you said, especially Brad, is that it's starting to turn.
Yeah.
If that's true,
I'll tell you what, too.
we'll
They're getting
see.
close to
Starting
the
to turn from what to what?
from
Against
like
him.
turning toward taking Biden
It's not
down.
turning in favor of Republicans.
No,
it's
no.
just turning against Joe Biden.
And keep
Is that
your
what you're
eyes,
suggesting?
yeah,
Yeah, I
keep
think
your
I agree
eyes
with
on
that.
the whole Hunter Biden saga that's about to wrap up with the investigation that's in him. Like the I think they're getting close to announcing the charges for whatever that investigation was.
Man, it's a good time to be right here on St. Louis's home for Conservative Talk 97.1 FM Talk. We're always glad you're here. Download the podcast. Just find Annie Frey Show wherever you get your podcast from. Keep it right here because the Mark Reardon Show is up next.
Are boomers more cringy than millennials? Is Gen Z more woke than Gen X? Is there any hope of bridging our generational divide?